be a starter, but this guy right here someday could be pitching in the big leagues.
Third start of the year for Davis. And the first pitch is in there to Jason Walk.
At 95. Here we go again. And we're not even going to, we'll just leave it alone.
Take a drink of your water.
That's it.
1 ball, 1 strike to Walk. It's 1-2.
I'll just say this. When you throw a sinking fastball, it's tough to umpire. It's tough to call it.
Yes, it is. Called strike 3. Walk was crowding the plate. There's 1 away.
That's a called third. The guy on the mound wanted it. The guy behind the plate wanted it. And you're right. He's leaning out over the plate, and it's impossible to hit. And maybe that's why he's in the 1 hole, Dave. Maybe he wanted to be hit rather than hit.
Oh, 1 to Bryce
I say
Madrid.
that half jokingly because he got beat one time in a regional by a pinch hitter hitting 190. But he weighed about 290 pounds, but he wore one with the bases loaded and cost us a regional.
It's 0-2. One thing to note about Davis, I mentioned just 2 starts, and he's not gone more than 2 innings in either of those starts, although against Arkansas back on February 24th, the Cowboys' big win. He went 5 2/3 of scoreless innings. And a big win for Oklahoma State in non-conference play.
Now, you mentioned something before the game started.
What's that?
And I want to come back and touch it because I thought you were spot on. I mean, when your roommate gets roughed up on Saturday for the first time during the year, is there a sense of, hey, I got to pick you up, buddy?
It's 1-2.
And yesterday was Brian Holiday's, only bad outing this year, and these guys are they're roommates, and this guy's got to pick him up today. Well, when you're at home and it's borderline, there's about 8,000 people that think that was a strike. And you look at the monitor, that's a high curveball.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Madrid, who's hitting .405 in conference play. Now the count is full. Madrid was 2 for 4 yesterday with a solo home run. He scored 3 times, drew 2 walks. A good day.
And that's why you got to work quick. You got to get that missed pitch out of your mind and repeat it. Don't dwell on it.
And he hit him, and Madrid will be at first with 1 out.
Not a home run day today like yesterday, so you don't need to look up at the flag and think, oh no, I can't let the ball be hit. But walks and hit batsmen and errors, that contributes to big runs, big scoring games.
Well, you think about Friday night when Oklahoma State won the first game. Oklahoma made 2 errors. They walked 9 Cowboys and hit another. Sooners out-hit the Cowboys 11-6, but Oklahoma State won 9-6, and really the score was not an indication of how the game really transpired. The Cowboys, for the most part, had that game under control. Yesterday, a different story when Oklahoma scored 19, but they did mainly the damage with the bat.
Yeah, the long ball was their game yesterday.
6 home runs, as a matter of fact, for the Sooners. Wind is blowing out to right field, which is very unusual wind here at the ballpark as Carmichael swings and misses at the first pitch. Now, we just don't see this wind here very often. It's usually one way, shape, or form, either out of the north blowing in or out of the south blowing out.
In Bedlam, Dave, the first inning is tough. Okay, I don't care how experienced either pitcher is. Then after 3, the game speeds up. So you got to play this thing pretty darn tight the first 3 innings of the game. You don't want to get down 4-5 nothing. You got to try to avoid an ugly inning. And being the 3rd game of the series, if you're hot in your bullpen, then get them ready because, you know, this is it. This is for the series.
Runner goes at first. The throw to second is in time.
Wow.
Madron is thrown out by Doherty. Two away.
Great jump right there. That's Ian Doherty right there. That might be the best exchange throw that I've seen in this ballpark all season.
I was about to say, Tom, that's something Ian Doherty wasn't doing a month ago.
He had a sore arm. Started the season out with a sore arm. And it really affected the ball club. And then your number one catcher gets knocked out. Season, fourth game of the year, sore arm.
It's 2-2 to Carmichael. If you're an Oklahoma State fan, you might remember that caught stealing as a significant moment in the season.
That was big.
It really is.
That's big.
Not just today, but for Doherty's confidence moving forward, I would think. And the count's now full. I mean, would you say?
And the guy on the mound. I mean, that helps Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is, again, he's at a 3-2 count. He's already hit a guy, and you've already had him trip to the mound. So obviously it's like, let's settle the big guy down.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Carmichael, 2 away, and he walked it.
And that's an overthrown 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And these are the things that Gabe has to get over as a starter. You can, as a bullpen guy, you come out there and bring that gas. As a starter, you got to stroke the ball up there. Well, he pulled that ball so far out of the zone, wasn't even fun.
Yeah. Well, and people listening are thinking, why are you making such a big deal of Doherty throwing that base runner Madron out stealing? Opponents have been successful on 11 of 12 stolen base attempts against Doherty before he just threw out Madron. So now he's dealing with Carmichael at first after a 2-out walk, and he is certainly a base stealing threat. He has 7 stolen bases this year.
And catchers take that number you just gave to the people. They take that personal. Again, a lot of it has pitcher. Does the pitcher hold people? Do they hold people good at first? Some of them on the staff don't. So those stolen bases, a lot of times that's attributed to the pitcher. It's almost like a 50-50 thing. But yeah, getting excited about a throw out in the first inning. I think they're going to run again.
One thing that happened yesterday that we have not seen is Cowboy pitchers working a lot of full count pitches, and we've already had 2 situations where the count has gone full today.
And I know because we've done this now for 3 or 4 years that, it's like one of those things that jumps at us, how many times we go to 3-2 and throw a lot of pitches. And when you throw a lot of pitches, you're giving the hitter a lot of views of the pitch.
1 ball, 1 strike to McKenzie. That's in there. It's 1-2.
Now see, this is the long hold. If you sat there and studied base stealing, it's one of the methods a pitcher has to try to stop that runner. He gets out on that last step and he stands there, and you hold it, you hold it, you hold it, and he's past the crease, so he could be running. Shot clock.
Pitch clock violation.
Is it pitch or shot?
Pitch. That's the indoor sport. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. That becomes a ball.
Right. Basketball's almost over. I can get it out of my completely out of my head.
So the violation puts a ball into the count, 2-2. See how Davis handles this. Fouled away.
But again, another oddity right off the bat. A pitch clock violation takes it to 2-2. And every time you give up a pitch in the count, it has a purpose to the hitter. I mean, you're almost back to being, even up. He had the edge at 1-2. Surrendered it.
Well, the significance of a full count, in my mind, the best pitched game by an opposing pitcher in Stillwater, either here or at Allie P. Reynolds Stadium, was by Alek Manoah of West Virginia. There goes the runner at first, and he strikes him out. Manoah, by the way, in an 8-inning shutout performance, never went to a full count. Here's the Cowboy lineup today. Bench leads off. Zach Earhart is hitting .600 over his last 9 games. Leads the Big 12 in hitting in conference games only. He's in the 2-hole. Then it's Miola, Schubert, Ortiz, who hit 2 two-run homers yesterday. LaSalle, Richie Forsythe, and Ian Doherty for Cowboy head coach Josh Holliday. Defensively, meanwhile, Oklahoma will line up like this once again today. In the outfield, it's Pettis, Walk, and Madron. McKenzie at third, Willits at short, Nicholas at second, Snyder at first, Butler behind the plate, and on the mound is left-hander Grant Stevens.
Really impressive numbers, and sometimes it's kind of fun to pitch at third game. His strikeouts to walk, that's okay. The batting average against him is good for the pitcher. More importantly, Dave, the third game of a series, a lot of times you catch clubs are a little bit worn down, a little bit worn out or unnerved. And a guy that can pitch, that can locate, they're hard to hit.
And Stevens' numbers are distorted by his first outing of the year when he gave up 5 runs in 4 innings in a start against Dallas Baptist. His last 8 appearances, Tom, of which the last 2 have been starts. He has a 1.77 ERA over 20 and a third innings, allowing only 12 hits, 8 walks, 18 strikeouts. So that first outing really pushed his numbers higher. So he's been good ever since.
Well, a lot of times the first 15 games of the season, you're looking for a rotation. And you pitch guys and you just say, hey, we'll see who surfaces. This guy surfaced. And his last 2 starts, now they got one of their 3.
His last 2 starts, by the way, were at midweek. So Skip Johnson has altered the rotation for the weekend. He worked 6 scoreless innings against Oral Roberts March 26th. Gave up 2 hits, struck out 4, walked 2, and then started against Wichita State Tuesday night. Worked 2 innings of scoreless baseball. And it's 3-0 to Benz to start the bottom of the first. Benz has had a good eye this weekend. He's been walked 4 times in the 2 games. It's now 3-1 to Carson Bench.
Midweek baseball, that's where you normally find one of your starters. You always go in with a plan, and one of those guys falls apart, turns it over to the midweek guy, and then the coach shows you that kind of confidence. Now you got to hold on to it. This is a chance to stay in a rotation the rest of the season right here in a game of this magnitude.
Stevens battles back to strike out Bench, 1 away.
And that's not overpowering, Dave. That's 89-90 up out of the strike zone, and you know I think it was recognized early, looking maybe slider. And it stayed. It's kind of a cutter fastball. He gets a little bit of crossfire action on it.
Here's the hottest bat perhaps in the Big 12, Zach Earhart, hitting .600 over his last 9 games. He has just been on fire, and he has killed left-hand pitching. That's been ongoing throughout the season. Earhart hitting .543 against lefties, and that's why he's in the 2-hole, obviously behind Bench this afternoon. That's ripped down the left field line and into the corner for extra bases. Earhart is on fire, and he's on his way to second. He'll be in there with a 1-out double.
I actually think that he's getting tired of running the bases. Seems like he's on every time. I mean, that ball was spanked. And the third baseman's, you know, he's kind of like on the line a little bit, and he had no chance. I still don't know what that little signal right there is to the dugout. Yeah, you'd like to have Earhart hitting in the 1-hole, the 2-hole, the 3-hole, and the 4-hole. I mean, when a guy's that hot, everybody just wants him coming to the plate.
He's now 6 of 10 in the series. So it's Aiden Miola returned to the lineup Friday night after missing 4 games. He's had a recurring hamstring issue, but he's in the lineup once again today.
So Stevens has walked 10 in 24 innings? So he'll throw some balls. And he's around the zone, and he's not a power guy. He's a pitcher. So what you got to do is you got to make sure you force him into throwing strikes. Don't chase balls out of the strike zone. Be patient. And this is a tough game to stay patient. Third game of the series.
That's chopped to third to McKenzie. Earhart is headed toward third. The throw over to third is not in time. He'll be there with 2 out. A bit of a risk by Zach Earhart to go to third, but he's there with 2 away.
A lot of people would say you're just as valuable to me at second. Just don't get thrown out. And if you get thrown out, you're going to get chewed on a little bit. But he was safe. And now you can't bounce the breaking ball. I mean, that's all it does. It takes away the short pass ball.
So how aggressive do you want someone to be in that situation? He's got good speed.
I would stay aggressive. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm with Zach on that play right there. 100%. And, he's going to throw left-hand breaking balls to Schubert, so maybe it'll pay off, that extra 90 feet.
Schubert 1 for 7 in the series. He had a 2-run homer with 2 out in the first on Friday night in Oklahoma State's 9-6 win. Earhart's at third base. It's creeping down the line. That pitch misses 1-1.
And the starter for OU today's he's a new guy. I mean, it's not like you got a big book on him. Been in a pen, a couple starts. You see him on film. You look at his numbers and you go, boy, this guy must really be good. So you go in with a little anxiety. Normally clears up as soon as you get a chance to get in the box.
It's 2-2. Bottom of the first, no score. Zach Earhart at third. He reached on a double. It's 3-2.
2-2 in the zone with a breaker. Then he goes out of the zone. So we're at the 3-2 pitch. It's all about playing on the hitter's aggressiveness.
And Schubert strikes out. Oklahoma State leaves a runner at third. Going to the second. Scoreless, no score. And here's a look at the Bedlam competition overall and sort of how it works as far as the bragging rights and the official Bedlam winner are concerned. Of course, this is one of the nation's great rivalries, and the dynamics will change now with Oklahoma going to the SEC.
And I know that there's word that it's only going to be one game a year, but when you're an hour and 10 minutes apart and it brings 8,000 people to the ballpark, you got to seriously think about playing more than one time a year. You don't need to play any series, but once here and there. RPIs for both clubs are going to be really good from this point on. It's a much needed series, in my opinion.
Michael Snyder leads off for Oklahoma here in the second. He looks at strike one. He's tied for third in the Big 12 with 36 RBIs. He's been a very consistent contributor. In fact, he has 7 games with 3 or more RBIs. A good series so far. That's foul, first base side. I woke up this morning thinking about this. And that is, Mike Gundy has said this about football, and I think it applies to baseball too, is the Bedlam series, as far as the players are concerned, is a lot different now because the players know each other. For example, in this case, they might play travel baseball together. That's grounded back to Davis at first. Should be easy. And the first out recorded here in the second. They may play all-star baseball together, travel baseball together. In football, guys cross paths all the time. And so, to me, it's a lot different now because you've got friends on the other side, whereas before, there seemed to be sort of an ingrown dislike for the guys wearing the other state uniform. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I got to go way back, all right? In 1977, when Coach Ward and I came here, OU's baseball program was at an all-time high, and we were brand new. I mean, we had expectations that we built within ourselves. And so they were getting all the local kids, and we couldn't get any. So we went all around the country to get our players. And what you just said was like, it became like a battle. Like our guys walk out here and go, who's OU? And so you explain to them how good they've been, and get a guy from New Jersey or a guy from California or a guy from Arizona playing against them. Now you're right. Both schools like to bring in the local guys, stay local.
It's 1-2 to Jackson Nicholas.
And it does change that dynamic a little bit. But, Dave, the one thing about going to college, if you're an athlete, if you're good, and I'll say if you're good, if you want to play professionally in any sport, including football, you want games like this. This
Sure.
brings your level up. And if you don't want this game, if you don't want the intensity.
Oh, that takes the glove off of Davis, but he throws him out at first. 2 away.
If you don't want what this game brings, then you went to the wrong schools. I mean, that's a line drive.
Yeah, disgloved him.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he didn't square that up. He kind of went out and hooked that ball, and
So 2 away, bases empty.
it's good that the glove came off his hand.
Yes.
A lot of times, guys that are tense will squeeze their glove. You put your hand inside a pitcher's glove, and you can tell a little bit about his nervous system.
Really? How
Do
so?
it. Try that, because the kids that are nervous, they squeeze. They're always, when they put the ball in the glove, they're tense, and there's ruts inside the fingers of the gloves.
Interesting.
Yeah, I learned that way early in my career as a coach, because I had some kids that they couldn't get the ball out of the glove. They were trying to throw so hard they'd be drifting the home plate. And I started putting their glove on, and I'm like, wait a minute, got to relax a little bit. Your glove looks like it's like been put in an oven and baked and formed.
3-0 to Kendall Pettis. 2 away here in the second. We're scoreless. It's really interesting. You know, only someone who has lived it the way you have as a lifetime pitching coach would know that. It's so insightful.
Yeah, a couple of kids, you just say, hey, go get a new glove and relax. And they look at you like, okay.
That's into left field, and that's the first base hit for Oklahoma today. Pettis reaches with 2 out in the second.
And again, not that power swing that we saw 9 guys taking yesterday. That was a contact swing, and he'll take it. And again, be looking for the running game. Every time OU gets on, especially with 2 outs, the running game's going to come into play. And it will creep into the mind of the guy on the mound. That's the beauty of the running game.
Pettis has 6 stolen bases. Sooners have already had a runner thrown out stealing. Scott Mudler, who had a monster game yesterday, drove in a career-high 6 runs, had a 3-run homer, and a 3-run single. You say 3-run single? Well, it was a 3-2 pitch with 2 out when the runners got a flying start. Singled to left center to score 3. Okay, here's an odd question. So
yeah, I'm odd. I'm odd enough to handle it.
I've been asking odd questions all weekend. Did you ever have a situation where it's 1-1 where you for whatever reason had to change pitching plans at the last moment, and someone had to go and start, and because they didn't have time to get worked up about it, they were relaxed and went out there and just gave you an incredible outing? That ever happened?
Yes, a lot. And sometimes when it happens, it's
popped up on the left side. High sky, bit of a struggle with it, but Forsythe, the shortstop, makes a play at the last moment.
That's your veteran shortstop and your rookie third baseman.
The Bedlam Baseball Series It's been great. Oklahoma State has the edge all time in the series, 187 to 160.
It might be the 172-hour period that your anxiety level is fun to play with. I mean, if you don't get excited about playing this series and you wear one of these two uniforms right here, then somebody ought to check your pulse. You might be sick. And memories, like I said, being unrecognized and not respected to being overly respected and feared. I mean, I think I've seen just about all of that take place over, 26 years in the uniform. And then the last 10 years, they know going in who's got a little bit of an edge.
Well, the graphic said first Bedlam in 2000. That's actually the first time that the Bedlam Series trophy was awarded. You had sort of the exchange of the bragging rights officially. Of course, doesn't really need a trophy by any stretch of the imagination.
I would say that of all the trophies that you gather, that's one that you take in your hand and you just go give it to somebody in the stands, because that's not one of those things you really want to remember. I think the trophy of winning the conference is the one you want to remember.
Ortiz hammers that into left center, and that's off the wall for extra bases. Ortiz around first into second with a leadoff double in the second.
Well, this is a guy that had a little struggle going on, and all of a sudden a kid from Tulsa jumps in and has had maybe the best at-bats he's had all season in the last 3 days. At a much-needed time.
So here's Donovan LaSalle, who has only played in 6 games. He was injured in late February and just came back into the lineup Friday night.
And we haven't mentioned it, and we don't like to dwell on injuries, but there's a guy named Wolford that's played a lot of baseball the last couple of years, and he's out for this series. One of the best right-handed power hitters in the batting order, and he's out. So somebody's got to pick it up with OU starting 2 lefties.
He rips that foul into the stands, third base side. So let's go back to our conversation last half inning about surprise starters and success. Guys that did not know they were pitching until the last minute and maybe went out and pitched really well because they didn't have time to think about it.
Well, it does happen, Dave, and you identify that personality over 25, 30 games, and then when you make up your mind you're going to change. You're going to change the mojo. You're going to change and use a guy that's been really good out of the bullpen. You just don't tell him. You let it just go to bed, wake up tomorrow, and you walk up to him and say, hey, man, you got it today. Johnny's sore. And you normally know that as a pitching coach when you got a guy that comes up sore or sick and you got to skip him. And you just want to leave it alone. Let him go to bed thinking Now, after you make a start, and you see a guy that doesn't handle it well, do you keep not telling him? I think that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And I think that adds that word confusion in the mix. And some people just flat out, I don't mean to sound like you're mean, but somebody will just tell you, get over it. And, you got to get over it.
3 balls and 2 strikes to LaSalle. You see Ortiz at second. He started this inning with a double. Nobody out. It's fouled away. Does it matter personality type? I mean,
yes.
If that happens, a guy that's high-strung better on short notice, or is a guy that's laid back better on that short notice? Was there any trend?
No, I like both of them.
Oh, both of them.
I
Okay.
like both those personalities.
As you can see,
the guy laid back makes you relax.
Well, that's true.
I mean, come on, you don't think coaches get into it? I mean, they do.
Another payoff pitch to LaSalle. And that misses. First and second, nobody out here in the second. A walk to LaSalle.
Dave, that's why coaches keep coming back for more. They like that rush of the ball game, what it brings to you. Now, that guy that's antsy and nervous, a lot of times you end up talking to him funny. like, hey, knock it off. Settle down a little bit. And all they want is a ball and a catcher, a warm up, and let's go. Hey, those kind of guys kind of turn you on too.
So here's Colin Ritchie, who has the very bizarre split of hitting .296 against left-handers and .296 against right-handers. He'll hit with first and second and nobody out here in the second.
Now, are you bunting here after watching yesterday's game?
Fouls it away.
Wow. And only because the guy in orange is my kid. That surprised me.
Did it?
I mean, I have said this 100,000 times. Score first. And every time that I dwell on that, it seems like I'm right. But I would try to score first today.
Well, yeah, I think Oklahoma State is something like 16-3 when scoring first. OU's record is similar. So you're not making that up. In fact, I have that in my notes. I'll confirm that to see what OU's record is.
At one time, Dave, it was somebody did a study. It was like 73% of the time you score first, you win.
Yeah, OU's 14-4 when scoring first. So, yes, it matters a lot. Ritchie squares again, pulls it back, throw down to second, could be trouble. And the ball gets away, and Ortiz safe at second.
Now that's what happens right there. The guy, the front runner, has to be able to read it. Now he got a little bit too aggressive, and he's out if the shortstop holds on to the ball. So the guy that teaches the bunting game right now is boiling over, because it's like, you got to bunt a strike. That's obvious. And the guys that are running the bases, you got to be on the right foot when the ball goes past the hitter. You got to be able to read.
So when you say the right foot, which foot is it?
Well, you're not hopping. You don't want to hop and get stuck on the right foot. If you're going to third, you're going to be on your right foot. If you get out on that right foot and they don't bunt, you got to push to get back. You need to be under control.
2-2 to Ritchie.
This hopping thing, people that do videotapes on how to steal bases and stuff, they like that. They want that false impression that you're stealing. Well, you're not stealing right here. You're being advanced by the bunt. So you got to get out and read and be on the right foot.
2-2. That's a called strike three. There's one away.
No, that's a really, really tough at bat for Ritchie. I mean, even a ground ball to the right side right there, they end up moving somebody to third. Of course, it could end up being a double play ball, but putting the ball in play right there is really, really important.
If the thought of a double steal has run through your mind, you probably want to park that, because Mudler is an excellent defensive catcher and has thrown out almost half of the opposing base stealers this year. First pitch in there to Forsythe, 0-1.
Well, if you can throw out 50%, he'll catch in the big leagues, because they don't do that in the big leagues. Nobody throws out 50%. That's incredibly high.
Yeah, he's not quite at 50%, but he's close. 1 ball and 1 strike to Forsythe.
I think about 28%, 30% in the big leagues is considered really good.
The runners go. There's a throw to third. And Ortiz is out at third, 2 away. I should have kept quiet.
Well, you kind of sensed it.
By the way, Mudler now has thrown out 12 of 26, if I have the numbers right. Actually, 12 of 25 opposing base stealers. So he's close to that 50% mark.
That Dave, is kind of one of those things that,
excuse me, 11 of 25, excuse me.
Kind of becomes a personality trait when you don't get the sacrifice bunt down. You get a little irritated. So now, to get runners to second, third, I'm going to steal it. If they had, that would have been a run right there, okay? So now that's in defensive. I don't know whether Mark at third is calling the running game or if it's coming out of the dugout, but that would have scored a run right there. Now, my point is this. When a guy fails to sack bunt, the tendency is for some coaches, okay, if I can't bunt him over, I'm going to run. And in this case, you got a guy catching that's throwing out 50%.
44%.
That's dangerous. That's really, really, really high. So you got to get a really, really good jump. And I don't know what kind of jump he had right there.
Now LaSalle's at 30, advanced on that wild pitch. That's fouled away by Forsythe over our head. Count remains full. Yeah, you just had a sense that might happen, but then, you know, the first thought that immediately jumped into my mind is you've got an elite throwing catcher behind the plate.
Yeah.
At least that's what the numbers tell you.
And we're far enough into a season, the numbers don't lie.
That's a two-out walk to Forsythe. It's first and third with 2 out.
Way back in the day when I learned how to catch, I was blessed with a guy that played 8 years in pro baseball, and he wanted me to go to second base and throw out the back runner because he doesn't get any jump at all. That's a tough call, first and second double steal. That guy gets a bad jump. So I was taught, throw him out. Get that guy out. Now you got 2 outs and a runner at third. But he took the front runner and got the guy out of third. It saved him a run.
Now it's Ian Doherty with runners at first and third. Cowboys left a runner at third in the first. We're in the bottom of the second. We're scoreless.
Be careful here. This is a really good right-handed bat against left-hand pitching. And you got him kind of hidden down in the 9-hole.
That pitch gets away. LaSalle comes in to score. It's 1-0 Oklahoma State. Cowboys catch a break. Down to second is Forsythe with 2 out.
Does this kind of prove out why we were talking about how important that base was? I mean, you want to score first, and then you get it on a... to me, that's a pass ball, but it seems like every time the ball goes through a catcher now, it's a wild pitch. That ball should have been blocked.
So once again, a peculiar situation. LaSalle went to third on a wild pitch. Now he scores on what we believe will be another wild pitch. And that comes after the Cowboys had Ortiz thrown out at third as part of a double steal. That was actually scored a pass ball, so the Cowboys get an unearned run in peculiar fashion. 1-2 to Doherty. Forsythe's down at second. He lifts that foul right side. So in some ways, weird as it sounds, the double steal turned out to be a success because it got the runner down to second, who scored in the most bizarre of fashions on a wild pitch, then on a pass ball. So I don't know.
Well,
interesting.
Yesterday, how many times did we see the ball leave the park?
That would be 10.
Okay.
Called strike 3.
Think about it. We saw the power game yesterday. You're seeing a running game already today.
3-2 in Stillwater. 1-0. That was the first ever Bedlam game in this ballpark, and what a game it was. A walk-off win for the Cowboys.
I remember that. You don't normally forget games like that. That's what I'm saying, Dave. It's like, what are we doing playing baseball in February when nobody cares, nobody remembers, everybody's cold?
Yeah, it was March 30th of 2021 to be exact.
I mean, you know, big crowds. Look at this thing today. We're almost filled up again. I mean, we've had 2 crowds of over 8,000.
Record-setting crowds. 2 largest crowds in
This will
O'Brien Stadium
creep up
history.
on it. This will get close.
Yeah. And Willits lifts that down the right field line. Binge is drifting over. And there's one away. Tried to get it up in that unusual wind that's blowing straight out to right field and got under it. One away.
Last time I checked, this is what it's about. We got a window open today. We're sitting here watching games and talking about baseball, and you got 8,000 people having a blast.
Oh, and the weather is spectacular. Walk fouls it away.
And the players, they never forget Bedlam baseball. And we use the word Bedlam here, okay? What do you think they say at Mississippi, Mississippi State, Arizona, Arizona State? You know, that's their thing.
Another foul out of play, 0-2. And today, as you saw on the information on your screen a moment ago, it's 72 degrees.
Yeah.
So you can go jacket or no jacket. If you're in the covered part of the stadium, you ever come to this ballpark, I tell people, dress, if you're seated in the infield, dress like it's 10 to 15 degrees colder, because it sort of has a candlestick park impact for some reason. That's ripped into right, but Benz drifting back, makes a play. Tougher than it appeared. 2 out.
Well, remember, yesterday was home run derby. That probably is off the wall yesterday. So he had to play it a little differently. He read the line drive. It sounded good, and that might be as good as he can hit it. And Benz played it beautifully. I mean, he broke in the right direction. And, of course, he has the speed to catch up the balls, which a lot of outfielders can't do. So, great play by the right fielder. That'll go unnoticed.
1-0 to Bryce Madron.
It's another good player right here. This is a complete guy.
He hammers that down the right field line. It is hooking, and it is gone. 2-out solo home run for Bryce Madron. His 6th of the year. We're tied at 1.
Well, when a series is over on your way home or whatever, whoever your sounding board is, sometimes you sit there and go, you know, they had about maybe 3 guys that could play for us. They had 5 guys that I'd like to have and stuff like that. Madron checks the boxes. He could play for me.
That's the 11th home run hit by Oklahoma this weekend. But the first 7, I believe, of those were solo shots, and that's another solo homer coming with 2 out here in the 3rd.
And go back in your mind, where was the pitch? What was the pitch? By the 3rd game, 13, 14 at-bats, they've told you how they're going to pitch you. So go up to the plate and look for the ball in that hole, but you got to go into account to get it. Go up there and hit the first pitch. That's a mortal sin on game 3.
0-1 to Easton Carmichael. It's now 0-2. Well, yesterday, Oklahoma did a lot of damage with 2 out. And they scored the first run today with 2 away. In fact, yesterday, Sooners had 10 2-out RBIs in their 19-10 victory over the Cowboys yesterday afternoon. Now 2-2 to Carmichael.
Yeah, that's your hitting coach's delight. You know, they really, you got to feel good. You got to feel really good about where Oklahoma is right now offensively. And I know they've got one of their better players out, but they got really good balance up and down the batting order.
Well, that was nearly a pitch clock violation on Davis. Now the count is 3-2. Carmichael was behind 0-2.
Dave's a slow worker. He's got some of those mannerisms of that guy that's pitching 1 inning.
He's already been assessed a 1-ball penalty because of failing to pitch in adequate time, but he strikes out Carmichael to end the 3rd. But a solo home run with 2 away by Bryce Madron has tied the game at 1. A great moment for a Josh Holliday coach Cowboy team. Carson Teal, the Stillwater native, with arguably the best performance of his career in the first Bedlam Series conference game played on either campus in 22 years. That was back in 2018. Cowboys swept that Bedlam Series and actually went 4-0 against the Sooners that year. Huge crowd of 4,121 watched that game on a Friday night. I remember it well.
Well, the series used to be Tulsa on Friday night, we'd get about 11 or 12,000. Oklahoma City on Saturday, we'd get 14,000. And Sunday would be a...
And Bench hammers that.
I think that's out of the yard.
Deep to right and gone. Home run number 6 for Carson Bench, and the Cowboys regain the lead 2-1 here in the third.
Now that's a 405-footer right there. That ball was starched. And it's nice to see nice to see a punch back. You guys took the lead, well, we just took it back. Or you tied us, we're back in the lead. I would think from watching Stevens throw the first couple innings, he really cannot throw the ball in the middle of the plate. His velo's average, his breaking ball's got a little bit of run in it. And he's got a little bit of a hump in his curveball, but I don't think he can pitch in the middle of the plate.
One and one to Zach Earhart. That's ripped down the left field line, but foul. Almost a carbon copy of a ball that stayed fair. Led to a double in his first at bat. If I'm counting right, we've had 17 home runs hit in this series. Two already today. 2-2 to Earhart.
I don't know how accurate it is, Dave, but before the game, we kind of get the word that this guy throws his own game, the catcher, pitcher catcher. Handle the game, it doesn't get called from the bench. And, well, I really like that. I wonder if it's true. What do you think?
Not sure. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out. Earhart stays alive. Carson Bench started this inning with a deep home run to right center, giving Oklahoma State the lead back after OU had tied the game in the top of this inning.
You listen to anybody that ever pitched in the big leagues talk about pitching, and one thing they always, tell you that you got to do is work quick.
Called strike 3, 1 away.
He dropped that right on the outside corner. And you better do that if you're going to get Earhart out right now.
5th strikeout for Stevens.
See, that ball's out early, and it just drops into the outside corner. Now, did it come around the plate to get it? If a guy catches it on the corner, the umpire's safe. But did that ball come around the outside corner? Earhart thought it did.
1-0 to 8
almost the same pitch right there. So I think the pitcher-catcher calling it speeds the game up. You look at the clock. He just threw that pitch right there inside 7 seconds. That's quick. Hitter has no time to react. You got to throw the scouting report out the window because this guy's coming at me so quick.
3-0 to Miola. Yeah, and I guess make the hitter slow you down.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to call too many. What do you got, 6 timeouts? I mean, it's kind of a cat and mouse game always has been. And really, when pitches are being called from the dugout, they're slow. The relay system has been sped up with all the new techniques, all the new gadgets.
Now 3-2 to Miola.
I think our clock on the scoreboard's got a hangover.
Miola grounds that foul, stays alive.
The velocity part of it.
Again, the wind blowing straight out to right. Ben's home run did not need the wind. count remains full.
That's a changeup. That's an 80-mile-an-hour changeup. That's about accurate.
That's a one-out walk for Miola. That's the third walk issued by Stevens this afternoon.
88-mile-an-hour fastball after an 80-mile-an-hour changeup. That's pitching. But I think you've got to be careful with 88. 88 to 90 in today's college baseball world is a danger. That's a danger zone.
Schubert 1 for 8 in the series. You know, and it's important to keep in mind that although Schubert returned to the Cowboy lineup March 19th, he did miss 12 games at a critical time in the season. When I say critical, at a time where, from what you say, guys are sort of getting their hitting timing, kind of getting their eyes right, so to speak.
All the conditioning went out the window when he got hurt. And he's such a natural hitter that he's just going to the plate right now. He's doing it out of his God-gifted talent. You give him another week or so, and he's going to be caught up.
Three and one.
Lots of pitches, a lot of setup stuff. You know, first pitch slider out of the zone wide. Well, I wouldn't throw it down the middle on this guy, but now he's in a hole.
Stevens up to 68 pitches on the day. He's issued 3 walks here as we play in the bottom of the third, and that's another one. That's the 4th walk issued by Stevens. He's walked Miola and Schubert with 1 out here in the bottom of the third.
Well, he definitely stayed away from him. The pitches that were out of the zone were way out of the zone there. And don't worry, he's had 2 games to watch, Dave. That's the beauty of pitching game 3. Now, yesterday after watching that, I think I would have picked up something to read. I would have quit watching all the fireworks, but he's had a chance to see guys. He knows where to go with it and where not to go with it. And honestly, I got to believe they got to get 5 innings out of him today.
So here's Avery Ortiz, who doubled his first trip. Went 2 for 5 yesterday. Had 2 2-run homers. And including the non-conference Bedlam in Norman, he's now 6 of 13 against the Sooners.
So he's enjoying Bedlam.
A run home in the inning on a leadoff home run to start the bottom of the third by Carson Bench. And now it's first and second, 1 out. Another chance for Ortiz. Ortiz had a big 2-run single. I believe it was in the 7th inning of the win Friday night for Oklahoma State. That ended an 0 for 17 dip, and he's been hot with a bat the last 2 days.
Yeah, he will not get what he hit the last time. He's going to get the slider or the curveball, a diet of it. The surprise pitch will probably be the fastball. Normally, this trip is to get somebody up. I mean, 2-1, you're not looking to make a pitching change. But, Dave, it becomes a 7-inning game. And then it becomes a 6-inning game. And today, with bullpens either loaded or empty, it has a lot to do with what kind of pace you want. And the head coach is the pitching guy in the Oklahoma plan. So Skip knows what he's doing right here. And guy starts out with a football down in the bullpen. That's to get the big muscles loose, get the shoulder awake. Then they go to the mound and start throwing. He's probably within 2 hitters. If he needs him, he could have him, whoever the right-hander is.
1 ball, 1 strike to Ortiz. Viola at second. You see him on your screen. Schubert's at first. Both drew walks consecutively. That's in the dirt, but blocked by the catcher Mudler, and it's 2-1.
He throws him a changeup down. He's trying to get him to, what do they say, fish? They want to get him to chase something out of the strike zone. And it's nice to see a freshman not do that. That's a growth sign right there of the hitter.
Fouls that back, 2-2.
Now that was a pitch to hit. It was about a 75-mile-an-hour get-me-over slider, and might have been his curveball. I think he's throwing both just from the. You see a little bump in one of them, but neither one of the pitches. It's a power pitch. They're runners.
Ortiz lines at. It's caught by the shortstop in a double play. Willett's over to second, and Viola's doubled off. Tough break. Headed to the fourth at Stillwater. Moment, that was his first year as head coach. A 4-3 Oklahoma State victory. Cowboys won 2 of 3 in that Bedlam series, and trying to do the same with a win here today. Oklahoma State up 2-1 over Oklahoma. As we head to the top of the fourth, 4, 5, and 6 hitters due up for the Sooners against the right-hander Gabe Davis. Anthony McKenzie starts things and looks at ball 1.
Gabe's pitch count's in good shape. 4th inning. This should be his best. He should be right now at his best. That's trying to avoid the 1-0 fastball. So now you're 2-0. Off speed, off speed.
It's fouled away, third base side.
And I think that's from yesterday. That's the hangover from 19 runs. Nobody gets a fastball to hit. Come on. It's the guy on the mound throws 95, 97 mile an hour. If you become afraid of your fastball, then you may as well go get somebody else out there, because you change his personality completely. I mean, that's an easy 97 mile an hour fastball. Totally in the hitters had to count the hit with the whole at bat.
And that's a leadoff walk for McKenzie here in the fourth.
And sometimes, Dave, when you talk about pitch selection, okay, there's a chart in the dugout. It tells you what you did with the guy the last time he hit, what he did, what you did with him. You look at that chart. When you go out and take your 5 warm-up pitches, you already in your mind know what you're going to lead him with. Am I going to lead him hard, or am I going to lead him soft? So you throw your warm-ups just like he's in the box. Because you know what? They don't stand. Hitters don't stand there getting ready to hit and watch what a pitcher's doing with his warm-ups. Most of them are hurrying up to just get their bat and get ready to hit. But the pitcher has to warm up just as though he's facing that first hitter. A leadoff walk will drive you crazy as a coach, and it'll drive you out of the game as a pitcher. Leadoff walks might be the biggest mistake, call it what you want, an error in pitching. But don't warm up, go out there and throw 5 fastballs, and then the first 2 pitches you throw are changeups. You're asking guys to do things that they're just not ready to do.
Now Michael Snyder, who's 6 for 14 in this series, will hit with McKenzie at first after a leadoff walk. McKenzie's 3 for 3 on stolen base attempts. Cowboys have thrown out a base stealer this afternoon. That was back in the first. That's popped up. A tall one in the infield. Ortiz records the first out.
All right. So you just walked the leadoff guy, and the next guy hits the first pitch in the air to the second baseman. What are you doing?
From a hitting standpoint?
Yeah. What's going on? I mean, you saw a guy come out and lead his off-speed stuff, and fooled around, took him to a full count, and walked him. Okay. Then you come up and hit his first pitch. I mean, come on. If a guy's going to struggle, let him struggle.
Well,
don't get him off the hook.
Here's Jackson Nicholas. 0 for 1 today. So, are hitters aware enough of the psychology of the pitcher at the moment? And should they be? Am I making sense?
No, I get what you're saying, and I say yes. I think that as you educate a young hitter, you have to talk about those things. Okay, so the mound trip. Where do you go? What's the coach do? Is he going to go out there and say what? Well, we got to throw strikes. So the hitter says he's going to try to throw a strike here, so I'm going to unload on the first pitch. That's okay, but what if it's not the pitch that you're looking for? So you unload on it because he's going to throw you a strike? I mean, we've already done, oh boy.
It gets away from Miola. And down to second is McKenzie with 1 out. That takes the double play off the board.
Yeah, that cannot happen. So basically what I'm trying to say is that there's got to be a philosophy. You have to be incorporating what your philosophy is. If a guy wants to go out there and struggle, let him struggle. Hit him, nail him inside the struggle. Don't let him off the hook.
0-2 to Nichols. So do hitters know, for example, that Gabe Davis in his starts, he struggled and not lasted very long? I mean, is that something that is shared to like, hey, now this guy gets in a little trouble now, let's not help him? Do they know that?
Absolutely. There's so many analytical studies going on right now. Every time you turn around.
That's a big strikeout for Davis, and there's 2 away.
Dave, they can show you your hot spot as a hitter. That's how much stuff is available. Now, that's a great changeup right there by Gabe Davis.
That's his 4th strikeout.
And that's a pitch that will push him to the big leagues.
So Kendall Pettis, who singled in the second, is up with 2 away. McKenzie at second after drawing a walk and advancing to second on a failed pickoff attempt, scored an error on the pitcher. 2-1 Oklahoma State. Top 4. And he's hit by pitch. That's the second Sooner hit by Gabe Davis today. It's first and second, 2 out.
Absolutely no intention of getting out of the way. Of course, that ball barely. It might have hit a hair or 2 on his forearm. But getting out of the way, that's not in his DNA right there. He's trying to turn the lineup over, and you got 2 guys that have had a really good offensive series is coming up.
Scott Butler had a 6 RBI game yesterday. And the OU catcher looks at strike 1. One and one. McKenzie at second, Pettis at first. McKenzie drew a leadoff walk, and then Pettis with 2 away was hit by pitch.
Well, Pettis is getting almost halfway to second base because of the respect for this guy's ability to pull the ball. So if he gets anything in a corner or a gap, he's going to score from first.
Well, yesterday we had a runner score from first on a single. In fact, it was a single delivered by this hitter, Mudland. It's 3-1.
That's a pretty good pitch right there. If I'm on the mound, I'm staring. But again, you better get it out of your mind.
Willits on deck has hit 3 home runs this weekend. And the count is full.
A 3-1 changeup. So the ability to sit on the fastball today, it's not going to happen. And the guy on the mound going to throw a lot of pitches to keep that from happening.
Big pitch coming up. First and second, 2 out. And that's popped up in the infield. Forsythe is fighting the sun. And he makes a play, and Oklahoma is retired.
3-2 slider. That's what I'm talking about right there. No fastballs today in a fastball count.
2-1 Oklahoma.
Going to take the lead. Ray scores, and it's 4-3 Cowboys.
Josh Holliday's first Bedlam game as Cowboy head coach, a 4-3 win. His team up 2-1 here as we go to the bottom of the fourth. He's had great success against the Sooners in his Cowboy coaching career. Donovan LaSalle will start things for the Cowboys here. He looks at strike one. LaSalle was walked in the second and scored on a pass ball. That happened in the second. One ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think Josh was in diapers the first time he experienced Bedlam baseball. But I'll bet you after he got rid of the diapers, he probably remembers mostly about 38 years of Bedlam baseball.
That's into left field, and that's a base hit. As LaSalle reaches to start the bottom of the fourth.
It's a lot of games. About 38 years of your life being involved in Bedlam. Josh's been around a lot of Bedlam baseball. LaSalle opened the season, I think, as the right-handed DH in the plan. I mean, first 2 out of the first 3 games.
Then went down with an injury and just returned on Friday night.
Hamate bone and
Ritchie fouls that away.
breaking in freshman bats. Got to be patient. Here's another one right here. Colin Ritchie.
It's 0-2. Now LaSalle, you mentioned, had been out. He'd been out, in fact, since February 25th. In fact, it DH'd in the win over Arkansas on the 24th of February. Had 2 hits. One and 2 to Ritchie. Struck out looking his first trip.
And I'm not sure that he's a base stealer, but he's out past the crease. When they get right past that little edge right there, got to be careful. If he has a good pickoff move, he's going to come get you.
There's a snap throw down to first, and LaSalle back in time.
Wow.
2-2.
That's all I look at. All I tell pitchers, if you're left-handed, if they get past that little crease, right on the edge of that cut right there in front of the first baseman, if they get there, go over late. And he's got 1 foot right on the edge. A little bit shorter lead now.
And the count is now full as Ritchie has battled back.
In other words, don't give up any more outs on the bases.
Cowboys were victims of a failed double steal attempt.
Coming over.
Back in the second. But the good news is LaSalle, who was the back runner in the double steal, went to third on a wild pitch with 2 out and then scored on a pass ball.
And Richie showed you last time up that he doesn't like the bunt.
Yes.
He had 2 shots at it.
Nobody out here in the fourth. 2-1 Oklahoma State. LaSalle singled to left to start the inning. Here's a big full count pitch coming to the freshman Colin Ritchie. Throw to first.
Okay, now you're on a bump. You know he's not running. So refocus on your hitter. You got to make a 3-2 pitch right here.
It's popped up on the left side. Will it stay in play? Wynn trying to bring it back in. And McKenzie makes a grab. There's 1 out.
Man, I think the wind played with that one. I think that brought that ball back. It kind of goes right into the mouth of that westerly breeze or wind.
So here's Lane Forsythe.
Every out is important. It's that valuable of a game.
Oklahoma atop the Big 12 standings entering today. 1 ball, no strike. Sooners entered the day at 8-3. It's a clustered mess, the Big 12 conference standings.
You mean the Big 13?
No, Big 12. You have Oklahoma in first at 8-3. And then you have Kansas in the 9-hole at 7-7. Could be a double play. High throw to first, and Forsythe is safe. There'll be 2 away.
Now you'd like to score down here in the bottom third of the batting order. I think Forsythe saw that ball so good. Just rolled over it.
Ian Doherty is 0 for 1 today. Forsythe 6 for 6 on stolen base attempts. What are the odds of a steal attempt here?
Well, if it was a right-hander, I'd say absolutely. But against this left-hander, I would let Doherty hit until he gets control of the count. Now, you know, it's already 0-1, but Doherty's got some juice. The idea of him leading off next inning is a lot better than if it was a right-hander on the mound. So I would let him hit his way out right here. He could put a 2-spot up on the board with 1 swing.
2 balls and 1 strike. Doherty has 2 home runs on the year, but that's in limited action. He's been sharing the catching duties with Charlie Carter. 2 home runs and 45 official at-bats. It's 2-2.
We're at 90 in the 4th. I got to believe this left-hander's maybe on that last part of his day here.
Count full, and Forsythe will take off with a pitch.
I'd say Stevens is that guy. When you say pitch to contact, he's that guy. He pitches to contact. He's not afraid of that.
That's grounded to short. Nice play by Willits and over to first. And they are calling Doherty out at first. ball was in the glove of Snyder long enough to record the third out. A good run against the in-state rival, both as a player and as a coach.
Those were fun days.
You were the head coach at that time.
Yeah, that's fun film. I'd like to have some of that. If Madison could find that, I'd probably take it home and show the grandkids.
Jackson Willits, who has homered 3 times in this series, twice with solo homers Friday night. Another home run yesterday will start things here in the OU fifth as Gabe Davis is out there, the Oklahoma State starter once again.
This is big for Gabe right here. We're in the fifth. Pitch counts in good order, 69 pitches.
It's 2-0. Davis walked the leadoff man, McKenzie, in the fourth and managed to get out of it. He's behind 2-0 to Willits. It's 2-1. So if that happens in consecutive innings, given Davis' lack of experience as a starter, does that set off alarms? Or does it really matter?
Dave, sooner or later, you've got to settle on a 3 starter. And only because we know the pitching staff at Oklahoma State really well. And we know the guy on Tuesday, Kiesel, has got an electric arm. He's another 95 to 100 mile an hour guy. You got to let this guy pitch and hopes that you got 4 going into tournaments. And Gabe's just got to get comfortable. You got to let him. It's a shame that this game carries so much weight, but it's a growing process for him. Every time he starts a game, you should be looking for him to go 5, 6, or 7.
Willits stays alive.
And at times you do got to kind of force feed it. You got to make him do it.
1 run on 2 hits for Oklahoma. Cowboys 2 runs on 4 hits. And Willits is hit by pitch. That's the 3rd batter hit by Davis.
And it might have been his best fastball velocity-wise, but he missed by, goodness, a foot up and a half a foot in. But it was 99 mile an hour, and I know the guys that are going to pay you someday, they like to see that kind of arm. But now you got the leadoff guy on base again. And I know one thing, Willits has really had a good series.
Yes, he has.
He's either hit it out of the yard or been on base a lot. Made every play at short.
Davis now has hit 3 and walked 2. See activity in the Cowboy bullpen. That's Tommy Molsky, who pitched Friday night. You know, it's funny. You know, Willits has had sort of a coming out this weekend offensively, and I don't know why this triggered on my phone this morning, but I watched a documentary about Ryne Sandberg, the Hall of Famer for the Chicago Cubs, and his 1984 game against the Cardinals on the NBC Baseball Game of the Week at Wrigley Field when he homered twice off the Hall of Fame reliever Bruce Sutter to get the Cubs into a tie, a game the Cubs eventually won. And Sandberg, that was really his coming out party because he was an extra guy as part of a trade between the Cubs and the Phillies. I believe it was in 1983, if I remember correctly. And they traded out shortstops, Larry Bowa to the Cubs and Ivan DeJesus to the Phillies. And Sandberg on that day, sort of like Willits and to some extent Ortiz this weekend, had that big breakout, and he never turned back.
Players never forget that. Players know the game that they got over the...
Gabe Davis and Tommy Molsky, who threw the final 2 innings Friday night, gave up 2 runs, but has been a dependable bullpen arm for Oklahoma State, will enter the game here in the top of the 5th.
Kind of hard to be 5-0 coming out of the bullpen unless you've been in games right around the 5th inning when it turns over. And in this case, he's inheriting a lead. And Tommy's a very, very dependable strike thrower. Already worked in the series 1 inning. So, what's your plan from here down? Is this a 3 or 4 inning expectation, or is it like give me 1 or 2, and we'll play out of the bullpen the rest of the way? I think Oklahoma State's bullpen's in good shape tonight. I mean, this is one of those games where you ignore Tuesday. Tuesday will roll around. The guys that are pitching on Tuesday, they're available today. This is your hot day. So I think Tommy's out there to maybe kill this inning and give you one. But the ability to not have to throw the fastball in fastball counts is what you're staring at. And Tommy can do that.
Jason Walk will be the first man to face Molsky. Molsky threw 21 pitches Friday night in those 2 innings, so it was a fairly short stint. Third baseman Ritchie, who's fairly new at the position, at least for Oklahoma State this year, is up on the grass at third, but they challenge him with a bunt, perhaps. He tried to bunt and is fouled away third base side.
Well, we thought they would check on that right off the bat. You know, his inexperience at third, bunt on him early. You know, bunt for a hit, make him play. Let's see if he can make the play. So in a sack situation right here, is it really a sack situation though, Dave? I'm not sure about that. I mean, they've got him in.
That's
what I figured
ripped
right there.
Deep to right field, bench at the track, at the wall, and it's gone. It's a 2-run homer for Jason Walk, and Oklahoma takes a 3-2 lead in the 5th.
So he shows bunt. Your infield's in, and you throw him back-to-back fastballs because you're willing to let him bunt, and he hits the second one out of the yard. So the little cat and mouse game of showing bunt and then coming around, and it's amazing how he hits this ball out of the park with, he really wasn't even loaded. Had his way down on the front foot, but he just line drives it. And he got maybe a little bit of boost from the wind because that's where it's blowing. Now the scoreboard turned around on a fake bunt and home run. Kind of adds to the list, doesn't it? About seen it all.
So 2 home runs again today for Oklahoma. Nobody out here in the 5th. Sooners have their first lead of the day, 3-2. OU hit 6 home runs yesterday, 4 solo home runs Friday night, so they've hit 12 in the series.
I'm not bunting in the 5th inning to tie the game on the road.
Two and one to Bryce Madron. It's been a long time. Well, I say a long time. I don't think in the 9 seasons I've done games, home games here at Oklahoma State on television, I've never seen a team come in here and hit balls out of the yard the way Oklahoma has, even in optimal conditions. I mean, maybe a Texas Tech team, but I don't remember anything like this as Madron draws a walk, and it's a bumpy start from Molsky out of the bullpen. It's given up a 2-run homer and now a walk to Madron with nobody out.
Well, Walk has been in the batting order enough now since Spikerman got hurt to probably just start feeling comfortable. I mean, he didn't have a whole lot of at-bats coming in. They thought enough of him today to jump him to the 1 hole. 50 at-bats.
You know, Molsky worked Friday night, but he did give up 2 runs in 2 innings. It was not really a smooth performance for him. And he's already surrendered a 2-run homer here in the top of the 5th. Oklahoma's taken a 3-2 lead, and now a walk to Madron. Carmichael fouls that away. It's 0-1.
Well, I think you go to a guy that can throw pretty much the same stuff that Gabe was doing. And it wasn't about Gabe's fastball today. It was about his secondary stuff.
Fouled almost to the same spot.
There isn't anything wrong with Tommy Molsky's velo. I mean, he's been 94, 95. I think after watching the first two games, I think OU kind of preys on the fastball. I think they kind of look for the fastball counts.
Madron's at first. He was thrown out stealing. Back in the first inning. Carmichael at the plate now is walked and struck out. That's into shallow right. Ben started back, but now he comes up and records the first out.
Tell you what, I thought that was a bloop single off the bat, but you get it above the stadium and the way the wind's blowing today, it's going to boost it, and kind of blew it right to the right fielder. And that was a big out.
Anthony McKenzie has walked and struck out. Had 3 hits yesterday. The leadoff walk comes back to hurt Oklahoma State. Actually, in this case, it was a leadoff hit by pitch. Davis walked the leadoff man in the 4th and hit the leadoff man here in the 5th. And then the 2-run homer by Walk, who was the first man to face Molsky, the Oklahoma State reliever.
Yeah, it kind of took the life out of the crowd. Got a clock violation again.
Boy, that's 2 assessed to Oklahoma State pitchers so far today. I don't think I've seen that in a game so far. So it's 2-0. That changes the dynamics considerably. With 1 out. That pitch gets away. Down to second goes Madron with 1 out. Now it's 3-0. Michael Snyder, who's OU's leader in RBIs, is on deck. So what do you do here if you're Molsky?
I'm not giving him anything to hit right here. I got a base open.
And that's ball 4.
And right now, if you don't like the guy on the bump, get another guy in there.
So Molsky has given up a 2-run homer to Walk. Walked Madron. Retired Carmichael on a fly ball to right, and now a walk to McKenzie. First and second, 1 out, 2 runs home in the inning. A 3-2 lead for Oklahoma.
I think right now you're just buying time for this guy in the pen to finish up. I think Kranz is coming.
That's the Cowboy right-hander.
The most dangerous thing, Dave, in this situation is to go out and say, give me one more hitter. I learned the hard way.
Really?
Oh, yeah, that burns you so often, you just say, I'll never do that again. And never do it again. If I'm going out and I don't feel comfortable, I'm getting him. Sometimes you don't like the guy that you got in the bullpen warming up, and you just keep pulling for the guy on the bump.
First and second, 1 out. Here's Michael Snyder, OU's leader in RBIs. 0 for 2 today.
That's 94.
No balls, 2 strikes.
It's 2 good fastballs in a row.
Madron at second, McKenzie at first. Two more home runs for Oklahoma today. "12 hit in the series. First and second, 2 out.
And boys, a runner at first getting a lead. Holy moly. He's not only past the crease, he's walking. By the time he gets into a read position, he's halfway to second base.
It's 2-2. OU's 12 home runs this weekend. These 3 games are more than they hit in the previous 11 games combined. Tells the story. 1 out, 2-2 pitch. The runners go. That's lifted into center. Earhart makes the play. 2 away.
And now that the scoreboard's turned around a little bit, you play a little game right there. You start your runners.
I think from an Oklahoma State standpoint, it's a good thing that ball was hit, because I think that would have been a successful double steal. That's what it appeared to me.
Well, they're not going to get the backside runner. He's halfway. And again, in your scouting report, is Doherty capable of picking me off first? And you got a guy playing first that hadn't played a lot there, and he's really deep at first base. So, and rightfully so here. You've got to play the left-handed hitter to pull. It's obvious. We got second baseman playing, I don't know, 30 feet into the grass, and your shortstop's playing second base.
Madron at second, McKenzie at first. Both were walked. 2 runs home in the inning on a 2-run homer by Jason Walk, the first man that faced Molsky. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. Key hitter in this game. 3-2 Oklahoma lead here, top of the 5th. One ball, 2 strikes.
And that's a good slider. I've been waiting to see that pitch from Tommy. He's actually been throwing more fastballs than normal.
First and second, 2 out. Chop foul into the OU dugout.
Kind of a cutter. That slider right there was really, really tight. He got it in on his hands. And they're obviously playing him that way. So they're actually pitching to the shift.
That's line deep to left. Schubert back, and it's over his head. Bounces over the wall. That saves a run. Madron scores on the play. It's an RBI double. But because it bounced over the fence, McKenzie has to hold at third. Otherwise, he probably scores, but it's now a 4-2 Oklahoma lead.
Yeah, that's a good bounce right there.
So Molsky has given up a 2-run homer, a pair of walks, and now an RBI double after taking over for doing a leadoff hit batsman here in the fifth. It's 4-2 Oklahoma.
It's a pretty good piece of hitting, Dave. I mean, they're playing him as a dead pool guy, and he just rammed one into the wind over the left fielder's head at around the 375-foot sign. So good pitch, bad pitch. Give the hitter a little bit of credit right there.
Second and third, 2 out. That was a huge 2-out RBI. That's been a theme in this series. Two of 4 Oklahoma runs have come with 2 out. Two 2-out RBIs today. The Sooners had 10 2-out RBIs yesterday on their way to a 19-10 victory. It's 2-0 to Pettis. 2 balls and a strike.
Nice job by your catcher right there. He went out and got him a pitch. That ball's a little out. He pulled it back in, and
that's chopped to short. Forsythe quickly over to first.
Great play.
And out at first. Pettis has good speed.
Yeah, that's a good runner, and that's a base hit bounce. He throws him out. That's a big day the rest of the day, and I think Stevens is in that one hitter at a time mode right now. Probably in there to get Binge out, and then you're going to go to a righty, and percentages will come into play the rest of the way.
Well, I say a bit eventful because Davis, who gave up 2 runs in 4 innings, hit 2 and walked 2. As Carson Bench looks at strike 1, and the OU starter Stevens, who, as Tom mentioned, remains in the game, has walked 4. Has not hit a batter, so there have been several free bases.
And he's going to be better with the lead because he's not going to throw anything overly hard. There's his best fastball, and it's basically designed just to keep you off the off-speed stuff.
Binge with a solo homer, his last at bat in the 3rd. He hammers that into left center, and that'll be down for extra bases. Into the gap. Binge hustling around first into second with a leadoff double here in the bottom of the 5th.
And I think that's why he's still in the game, was to get Binge out. And when your fastball's 86, then he comes back with that curveball and he lays it right in the middle. It got hammered.
That's exactly the case as Skip Johnson comes to the mound, and we will have a pitching change. We'll tell you about the new pitcher when we return. 4-2 Oak leads bottom 5, and the new pitcher for Oklahoma is right-hander Brendan Gurton.
Boy, coming out of high school, this guy's arm was electric. This was another one of those, well, high draftable type arms. Made a commitment to go, I believe, to Texas Tech. Went out there and pitched for a couple years. But I think you're going to see some gas right here. I think they're going to play that late in the series thing, and let's go at him now. Wear him down a little bit. Strikeouts to walk, not real good. Hits to innings pitch, not real good. ERA, okay.
Interesting situation, Tom, because this is his first relief appearance. All of his 7 previous appearances have been starts.
Well, I felt that way coming in, that if this series is on the line on Sunday, everybody's Tuesday starter is going to be active on this Sunday. And this game is for the series. And if Gurton's been their Tuesday or Sunday guy, and I see why Stevens, was his 3rd starter in this series. You got to worry about the guy that just doubled, and you got to worry about Schubert. Everybody knows how good those 2 players are. So you tend to look for a lefty if you got one. So they did. And now you know what you're doing here? You're just sitting there putting guys in saying, hey, it's your game. Let's see what you're going to do. And Gurton's an Oklahoma kid. I mean, he's got to be turned on to the Bedlam thing. And he's been in the league. It's not like he was way out there somewhere. So, but he can get into the mid 90s.
Zach Earhart doubled in the first, struck out in the third. Benj at second after a leadoff double.
96.
OU with 3 runs at the top of this inning to take a 4-2 lead. Oklahoma State trying to answer. That's lined right to second. Nicholas records the first out. That's the second time a Cowboy hitter has hit a ball hard right into the glove of a Sooner infielder. The other occasion was a line drive double play.
Well, you know you're going good when you hit one about 110 mile an hour off the 96 mile an hour fastball. When that's the out that you're making, Earhart's feeling pretty good right now.
So now it's Aiden Miola.
That's 95 on the outside corner down and away. That is a great pitcher's pitch. Now, can he duplicate that? Can he stay there and pitch? If he does, it'll be very effective. Little slider. Well, now you've seen the fastball slider.
One ball, 2 strikes.
And I know that our radar gun gets a little bit pitcher friendly, but that's in the 95, 96 range. Big time contrast off of Stevens. You go the soft lefty, you bring the power guy. You can kind of see the game plan.
Viola rips that into center field. That's a base hit. Benj will hold at third. It's first and third with 1 out here in the 5th.
Yeah, he gets a high fastball. Not really a bad idea. I mean, he went for the strikeout up. Aiden just put it in play.
So Schubert will come to the plate. He has walked and struck out. He has been far better against right-handers than against left-handers this year.
And I think he's probably happy to get rid of that soft left-hander that was running everything away from him. This guy's going to come at him.
1-0. Schubert, in fact, here are the splits. 6 for 32 against left-handers, or against... Actually, I beg your pardon. His splits are better against lefties than they are against righties. Correct myself. He entered the game at 290 against lefties and 194 against right-handers. So that's an interesting mix. Although, as you said, the soft left-hander was tough on him.
Yeah, that is a little unusual for him. But again, you're talking about a guy that had a pretty serious injury.
Yes, missed 12 games. First and third, 1 out. It's 1-2. Bottom of the 5th, 4-2 Oklahoma. This is a big at bat for Nolan Schubert, Cowboy cleanup hitter. Ben's at third. He led the inning off with a double. Miola's at first. He singled. Schubert, an All-American a year ago, hit 17 home runs. Has 5 so far this year in 63 at-bats.
Now there's the changeup. I'm not sure. He might have got away with something right there. That after 94, 95, come back and throw an 86-mile-an-hour changeup. I think whatever he thinks he's going to get him out with, you're going to see it right here.
Schubert nubs one into shallow right. That's down for a base hit. Ben scores. Over to third is Miola. It's an RBI single for Schubert. It's a 4-3 game here in the fifth.
And he really tries to go hard in. Not a bad idea. And Shuby just fights it off. That ball never got to the barrel, Dave. That was off his handle. But you know what? You'll take it. You'll take it when you're on the wrong side of the scoreboard. Turn it over to the next guy. Keep turning it over. That's how you build an inning.
So Avery Ortiz, who was a part of that line out, hit a ball really hard in the third, but into the glove of Willits, led to a line out double play. He also doubled in the second. Point being, last 2 days he's hit the ball hard. Had 2 two-run homers yesterday. He'll hit with runners at first and third, 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth. Tying run at third base, Schubert's at first.
You know, I watched the pitcher, and only because I kind of like analyze pitching too much, kind of a freak on that. But Gerten's throwing the ball with every fiber inning. When he lands, watch him come backwards. Good. Now that was a good form pitch. The one before, he recoiled so much that it scares you. And of course, this is a big, strong guy, but that pitch right there came out really smooth.
2 balls and no strikes. First and third, 1 out.
Another one.
It's 2-1.
Good follow through. Good extension. Extension's the key for me. When a kid's getting extension, he's safe. When he recoils, he's not safe, health-wise.
It's fouled into the dugout.
And that was another one. That was a good pitch.
So 2-2 now to the freshman Avery Ortiz.
You'd like to have contact, Dave. You don't really want to take a strikeout right here. Make them make a play.
He lifts that into shallow center. Walk comes in, makes a grab. Runners hold, 2 away.
And center fielder throws a strike to home plate, literally.
So if Nicholas, for some reason, has to make that play, do you send that runner at third?
Totally different. Nicholas makes the play, you run. Kind of hope right there the center fielder has to leave his feet to catch that ball, then you run.
Donovan LaSalle has walked and scored, singled in the fourth. He'll hit with runners at first and third, and 2 out here in the fifth. A run home for Oklahoma State. Just the 17th at bat for the year for LaSalle. He's been injured.
And there's that recoiling fastball. Of course, it's 94, 95. He wanted a little extra on that one. I think he reached back and got it.
Two and one to LaSalle. RBI single by Schubert. Scored Carson Benj, who led this inning off with a double. We have a one-run game. 4-3 Oklahoma, bottom 5. 2 out, runners at first and third. That's chopped to second to Nicholas, and out at first. Oklahoma State scores 1, and we're headed to the 6th at Stillwater. 4-3 Sooners in Bedlam. 12 conference standings entering today, and even with the results that are coming in, it is it's a mess. I mean, I say that. Actually, I should say something else. It's exciting is what it is.
If you're a fan of the league, and it's the first time we've had 13 teams in the league, nobody's out of it right now. I mean, everybody still has a chance to make the conference tournament. There are some surprises going on, and probably TCU being in the 12-hole right now, that's probably the biggest one for me.
Well, they've lost again today. Cincinnati has swept TCU.
Wow.
In Cincinnati, a 13-2 victory for the Bearcats, who will be here next weekend. Scott Butler leading off for Oklahoma here in the 6th.
As they say, you either get better or you get worse. And it looks like Cincinnati's like kind of enjoying this new trip into the Big 12 area.
You know, and an interesting dynamic for them, and I'm curious to ask about this, is that, you know, the Big 12 conference full of teams for the most part in college towns. TCU's in Fort Worth, so close to where the Rangers are, but, you know, University of Cincinnati and the Great American Ballpark, you're not talking about much of a distance between the two places, and I wonder how that could positively impact your program.
Well, I'll tell you this, okay, because, you know, you're kind of touching in an area that when you look for players in recruiting, you certainly get your own little area around where you're from. Then you run to areas where kids want to play in the big leagues. And that Cincinnati area, there's always been good players in that area.
Really?
But people go in and take them.
Boy, and Volsky
now,
comes back and strikes out Butler.
Now Cincinnati's in a conference. Well, they're going to play great baseball, so stay home. Play for the hometown college. That's a big out. So I'm kind of anxious to see Cincinnati. I
am too.
I thought, you know, that'll make that baseball program better by being in this league.
One 1-0 to Jackson Willits. He's hit by pitch. Scored in the 5th. Scored on a 2-run homer by walk that gave Oklahoma the lead. It was 4-2 at that point. Now it's 4-3 Sooners. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think Tommy Molsky has a settling effect when he comes into a ball game right now. I think he's the guy that everybody feels like, okay, you know, now that Tommy's there, we can relax, get rid of the anxiety, all the emotion. And we made a run at turning the scoreboard over again last inning and just couldn't get that 2-out base hit.
2-2.
Well, we've hit a lot of guys going in with sliders.
And Molsky has struck out the first two hitters for Oklahoma here in the top of the sixth on full count deliveries.
And this is a slider that's not even a strike. That's a high slider away, and as good as Willits has been, I bet you he's sitting 3-2 fastball right there and was loaded to swing.
First pitch misses to Jason Walk, who had the big two-run homer in the fifth that gave Oklahoma the lead. He was the first man that Molsky faced in relief of Gabe Davis.
Kind of looks like a freshman, doesn't he?
He does.
Looks like he's got room for a hot dog or two in that body. And
he's been prominent, though, with Spikerman out. He rips that deep to center field. Earhart, though, in front of the warning track, makes the play. And Oklahoma goes 1, 2, 3 in the sixth.
yeah, you might want to think a little bit more about your pitch pattern to that guy, because he's squaring the ball up pretty good this series.
He's have a solo home run from Carson Benj, and Oklahoma State batting here in the bottom of the sixth will send the 7, 8, and 9 hitters up to the plate.
You start working on the suntan this weekend.
Yes.
And then next weekend, you top it off, get ready for the summer.
And then next weekend, it's not going to be above 60
Oh, get out
at
of
the
here.
first pitch, and I'm going to win my bet.
I'll bring a Snicker. Oh, that's right. I got to make meatballs. That's okay. I'll do that.
You know, my wife, even at work, was informed. She didn't know about the bet by one of her colleagues. So now she's interested.
So you guys you're reaching out to the big guy up above and praying for 58. I get it. I don't like fighting with that guy up there. If he turns it into 58, I'll know the power you used.
Colin Ritchie leading off here. It's 0 for 2.
You know, I'd make you meatballs probably without winning the bet.
I know you would. Of course you would.
Now, most people, I make them pay $5,000 for it.
Oh.
But I fix them everything under the Italian book of Tom Holliday. Not that much, but
1 ball, 1 strike. Brendan Girton is out there in relief of the starter Grant Stevens. Stevens went 4 innings, gave up 3 runs, 2 earned, gave up 5 hits, 4 walks, struck out 5. Ritchie, Forsythe, and Doherty here in the Oklahoma State 6th. The winner today wins the final Big 12 Conference Bedlam Series as OU ventures off to the SEC. Ritchie strikes out, 1 away.
he got up underneath that fastball, and that's the rising effect of a four-seamer. And that's a good fastball hitter. Ritchie is a good fastball hitter, and he went right at him, and Girton goes about 96 that time. And he's really filled out since his freshman year.
Here's Lane Forsythe with 1 out. Fouls this away. It'll be interesting over time to see if all of this geographical configuration of conferences goes back to being regional at some point. Because here's the deal, and I'll say this, I don't mind saying it. And I don't blame Oklahoma for they have to do what's in their best interest, and their fans are excited about going to the SEC, as they should be. It's a new beginning for them in what we all know is the best college football conference in the country. There's no arguing that. And they should be excited. But to me, there seems to be college sports for television and what TV wants, and college sports for the fans, and they are not the same thing. Forsythe lifts that into right center. And the center fielder, Walt, covers a lot of ground, and there's 2 away. Because the fans want the rivalries to stay. They want the regional teams to play one another. And we're drifting away from that. However, at what point do the fans win? I don't know. That's a good question. But after all, they are the consumer. I mean, there aren't dogs and cats watching these games, and if so, they don't have any influence on anything. So when do we get to that point? I don't know. Maybe we won't. But at some point, you would think what the fans want would matter. But maybe not. Doherty looks at strike 1.
Your gut feeling on the whole thing is, isn't it a shame when you look up the last 3 days and you see a baseball stadium packed? I don't mean nice crowd. I mean packed. I mean, people are like buying tickets on the street for baseball. People are like, hey, I got an extra ticket. Oh, I'll take it. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. When you take your teams that are an hour and 10 minutes away off your schedule, next year we add teams that are going to be flying in. I mean, it's 4 in and 2 out. So instead of 13, we're going to have 15 teams in a conference. How you do that, Dave? You're going to go to divisions inside your conference? Or are you going to have a 15-team race like we're looking at right now? I mean, we know 3 teams will not play in the conference tournament. Next year with 15, do you go 8 and 7? Play everybody in your division, 3? That's 21 conference games and half the teams on the other side? Or do you just completely get away from outside competition, play everybody in your league?
Doherty strikes out. And the Cowboys go 1-2-3. It's been a good outing for Brendan Girton out of the bullpen for Oklahoma to this become significant.
Yeah, people were talking about projections. That kind of gets you in a mood, right? And now we got 2 teams playing for the national championship in basketball. It kind of tells you, we don't need to start so early. Let basketball get out of our way so everything that we have in front of us becomes more important.
New pitcher for Oklahoma State is left-hander Drew Blake.
And after 2.5 games into a series, I would think that I'd be looking to the left side of my bullpen to get somebody in there, because OU's left-hand hitters have destroyed Oklahoma State's pitching, or pitch plan, or whatever you want to call it. Most of them have been right in the middle of their scoring. And Drew Blake's got a great arm. I mean, we're talking 92, 95. He's come up with a slurve that's a power pitch. Kind of an excitable type pitcher. Likes to come at you, likes to work quick.
2-0 to Madrid. It's 3-0.
And the key to relief pitching, and you say it over and over and over and over, get the first guy out.
Blake last worked Tuesday against Oral Roberts, just worked a third of an inning, and he walks the leadoff man, Madrid. So I believe that's the 3rd time in the last 4 innings that Oklahoma's had the leadoff man reach. 2 of those via walk and another hit by pitch. Looks like we'll have a pitching change. We'll tell you about the new Cowboy pitcher when we return. 4-3 Oklahoma. Leadoff man at first, 1 out in the 7th in Stillwater.
With features you won't find on Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, or Toyota RAV4, the Hyundai Tucson puts the other guys in their place. Namely, the rear view mirror. Only at Tucson, compares to a Tucson.
New pitcher has been a busy pitcher for Oklahoma State. Right-hander Robert Kranz, who takes over with a runner at first and nobody out in the top of the seventh. OU up 4-3.
Yeah, great numbers. 17th appearance on the season. I'd call that a workhorse or a legitimate relief pitcher. And he's been used that way since the season started. A big-time addition to the program coming out of Wichita State. Strikeouts to walks, very good. Very good. Batting average against him, outstanding. Of course, the ERA is beautiful. 23 innings, 0-1. Going to run it up there in the low 90s. He's not a 95, 98 guy. This is more of a pitcher in your bullpen. Good command. Curveball's good. And right now, you're taking every out in a one-run ball game, knowing you probably got some arms fresh today that you're not afraid to use late. And Bench hasn't been on the mound all weekend, so you know that's fresh. I think you'd like to have gotten a little bit out of Blake.
Yeah, Blake worked Friday night and only faced one hitter, and he faces just one game, 9-6.
I wouldn't be surprised you don't bunt right here. Try to pad the lead a little bit. And OU is so well schooled on the running game and the bunting game. So you throw over just to see if he shows bunt early. And he didn't. But we already had a two-run homer hit off of a show bunt, and it's supposed to be a show bunt and slap. Well, he slapped it out of the park.
Runner goes from first, and it's fouled away.
So they play hit and run instead of bunting him. I like that. They're aggressive. They're on top. They're playing to pad the lead. They're not sitting back on their heels.
It's 2-1. Foul back, 2-2. Cowboy pitchers today walked 5 and hit 3. That's not been generally a recurring theme for this pitching staff. In fact, they entered the weekend top 15 in the country in several pitching categories. Walks to innings pitched. Whip, walks and hits rather. Oklahoma State, one of the best teams in the country in that category. And yesterday it was the long ball. Sooners have hit 2 home runs today.
You know, you kind of grow up hearing that term, walks as good as a hit. And when you get on first base, that's, you know, you're like, man, I don't want to walk, I want to hit. So you never really buy into that slogan. When you get a little bit older, now you start to see why a walk is as good as a hit. Well, we're going to get one here real soon.
Yeah, we've had 3 that almost got up here.
Yeah, that's only about 6 feet to the right. Pretty good battle right here. Another one of those, you don't want the opponent to pad the lead. And this guy right here is maybe the most important out of the inning.
And that's the first out of the inning as Carmichael strikes out.
And Carmichael went out of the zone right there. And again, that's why you make the move to the righty. You got to be able to get the ball away from him. That's a good slider. now you got to be sitting around thinking, yeah, we should have bunted him. This is the greatest second-guessing sport.
Oh,
of
isn't
all.
it?
Anybody, even if you just played a little bit, you can be dangerous when it comes to watching a baseball game.
See Madrid at first. He drew a leadoff walk off of Drew Blake. That's in there from Kranz, 0-1.
You think that's why people just show up all the time? Because you can sit and manage a game for $10, 15. I don't know what a ticket costs, but that's a good pitch. And again, when guys crowd the plate, umpires tend to, they blink on that because it almost looks like it's going to hit them. And the TrackMan, they don't worry about where the hitter is. They just show you the pitch. Did it get inside the strike zone? It shows up. But where the hitter is, it sometimes affects the umpire.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's a slider on the outside corner. Very hard to throw that pitch. Backdoor sliders, most of the time, you think it's an accident. Boy, when a guy can do that, he's a special guy.
That's into left center. Earhart roaming over, records the second out.
Got that fastball up on his hands. It's a good pitch. I'd say this was a good free agent signing. Oh, I'm sorry, portal signing.
I knew what you meant.
I'm just amazed, Dave, at the number of college arms. Throw 92 to 95, and they'll slip into 96, and you're sitting there, you're watching big league arms. The only difference is big leaguers, they don't tend to walk people, and they locate better, and they put up with the minor league system, and they make it through the system. But, I mean, you're watching a guy right now throwing 93, 94 with a plus slider. We got a timeout here or what? We're going to have a pitch clock violation. We don't hurry up.
0-1 to Snyder. So, as players progress from college to the professional ranks, do they typically see an improvement in the movement of their pitches? Or does that happen before they go to the professional ranks? Boy, that is ripped into right center. That's in the gap for extra bases.
Got to get that in quick.
Earhart plays a carom, and there will be no play at the plate as Madrid scores. It's a 5-3 OU lead and another 2-out RBI as Snyder doubles to right center.
That slider was right down the middle. Now, that's an accident. You're not trying to throw a get-me-over slider right there. And, boy, he made him pay for it. That's your big run. That's your insurance run. Then he just had a spastic moment right there. I am so against that. Now, what were you asking me?
No, I was asking you about Jackson Nicholas up. 2-out runner at second now, a run home. I was asking you about movement, and that is when players leave college, go to the professional ranks, do they often see an improvement in the movement of their pitches?
Creating movement?
Yes.
Well, it's a difference most of the time between a four-seam and a two-seam fastball. I think when you get into pro ball, they tinker with that. They want you to throw a two-seamer because there's just way too many good hitters in the big leagues. 94 right now, straight, even though it's 94, it just doesn't work. So, yeah, they want to create some movement. That's why guys that can get drafted that have two breaking balls in college, they move quick. They can spin it, they can curve it. Right now, you watch a big league game with all the high-velocity people, everybody gears to the fastball. The curveball's back in style. If you can throw a 12-6 curveball that changes speeds, it is money. Change-ups, critical. Split finger pitch, critical.
Nicholas hits that off the mound, goes to Ortiz. Forsythe, rather, and third out is recorded. Stretch time in Stillwater. 5-3 Oklahoma over Oklahoma. 5-3 Oklahoma over Oklahoma State. Cowboys head to Wichita Tuesday, then back home for the series we discussed earlier, Cincinnati.
Yeah, there's no slouches on that schedule. I can tell you that right now. Wichita State's having a rebound year under a new coach. Cincinnati, I mean, geez, you got to call them the hottest team in the league, right?
Just swept TCU.
Yeah, and then you got Dallas Baptist, top 10 team. We know how good they are. And K-State got off to a great start in conference. They rebounded. Oral Roberts, kind of a rebuilding year, but right now there's no rest for the weary, and you got about 9 outs to turn this one around.
Top of the order for Oklahoma State, facing the right-hander, Brendan Girton. Carson Bench has homered already today. Solo homer in the third. He also doubled and scored in the fifth. As we play here in the bottom of the seventh.
Dave, when I went to the University of Texas in 2004, and I got to work with Augie Garrido, which was one of the fun periods of my life, we practiced playing the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning.
Really?
We do the normal practice stuff. We take BP. The guys that had to throw bullpens to throw, we'd save an arm, sometimes two, and we would play the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Now, it would be tied up, then we'd work on the short game. If we're down a run, we'd play to score a run and win the game. And it's an interesting dynamic to practice. And it trains. It was a training session to how to deal with the emotion.
How did it help? Did it help?
Oh, I think it helped. I mean, it seems like we won every time we played. And, you know, we did it. We did it with a batting average of 245 as a team. So you learned how to hit in the clutch. And our kids did that. And on the mound, you had to either pitch with the lead or you had to pitch to hold on. It's like right now with Girton. Girton has a 2-run lead. You don't walk the leadoff guy. And right when you think that Girton might be their guy for the rest of the game, now he's put himself in jeopardy.
So Bench with a leadoff walk. Zach Earhart is 1 for 3 today. Will be the next Cowboy hitter. Also hit the ball hard in the fifth, lined out to second. Earhart is the tying run here in the bottom of the seventh.
But, you know, Dave, at times you got to make sure that practice doesn't become boring.
Oh, I'm sure.
Repetitive things that you do. Then when players don't like to practice, they don't get any better. You don't get better as a team, that's for sure.
Well, here's Earhart, who's the Cowboys' hottest hitter. Hitting close to 600 the last 2 weeks.
And maybe he went out there to let Girton know, hey, here it is, bud. You got their best hitter right now at the plate. You got to give us your best effort. Let's see how you deal with this. Could be a challenge moment. I know one thing. He's not pitching in a hurry. He's loading up. If Benj wanted to steal second, this is the time to run. As you watch Girton, he's slow to the plate. You watch him, right? Right there. That's a full load.
2-1 to Earhart, who is 6 for 12 in the series.
But it's not a running opportunity for Oklahoma State. You got 9 outs. You don't want to give one up. You want a potential give one up.
5-3 Oklahoma, bottom of the 7th. Bench at first after a leadoff walk.
He nailed that pitch. That's a good slider. Now you come back and think about running a little bit. More than likely, you're going to either get his best fastball out of the zone or his best slider away.
Earhart shoots that into right center, and the center fielder, Walk, makes a great play. One away.
The conversation we had with Skip before the series, first guy out of the box was Spikerman's injury. This guy's playing center field like a big leaguer. I mean, now you start looking for comparisons. I mean, he's really covering ground all over the place. That's twice in the series he's taken plays like that and maybe killed a rally. But Earhart again hits the ball really well. Slider away, hit it where you have to hit it.
Fouled out of play by Miola.
Now let's see if he mixes in a slide step right here, because I don't know what the stolen base percentage against Girton is, and I know the catcher can really throw. Okay, I mean we've researched that one, but he's pretty slow to the plate.
Of course, as you said,
don't want a double play ball right here.
No. So, do you think differently from a stolen base standpoint when you've had a catcher catch all 3 games in a series? You had a long day yesterday, then you're coming back and playing today. It's been a long weekend. Do you become slightly more aggressive at the back end of the series? And there's a base hit up the middle for Miola. Bench to second. It's first and second with 1 out.
Are you conscious of that? Yeah, you are. I always was. Catching 3 in a row, I kept an eye on that guy. If I could get him a couple innings off, I'd do it. I think the fact that they've been chasing this series, that ball smoked. But I think the fact that they have a lot of positive adrenaline now on the first base side, the catcher, even if he's dragging a little bit, you're not going to notice it.
Right.
And had we been able to get him over, that's a run right there. That base hit is a run.
Looks like we'll have a pitching change.
Of the 4 years I've seen Girton pitch, that's the best I've seen him throw right there. That's a good outing for Girton, no matter what happens here.
So Schubert will face the new OU pitcher, a left-hander. We'll tell you about him when we return.
Was for real. This could be for one guy.
Hit last pitched on Tuesday at Wichita State. 2 innings of scoreless relief. Overall numbers on the year. He's given up at least 1 run in 6 of his 8 appearances.
And a lot of hits. A lot of hits over innings pitched. Strikeouts to walk. Now that's pretty good.
Well,
might be really tough on left-hand hitters. 25 innings. I mean, this isn't. You're not reaching into your bag of tricks. I mean, this guy's in the pitch plan.
Well, here's a number that really jumps out. He surrendered 8 home runs in 25 1/3. And Schubert, who has big-time power, will be at the plate.
Yeah, let's just see what the breaking ball looks like. I bet it's a good breaking ball. I bet it's a big running flat slider, and you're going to try to get him out of the zone, chasing it.
First and second, 1 out.
And Schubert's got to understand there is a guy on deck. This is not a pitch around situation. They're going to try to get him to chase the pitcher's best pitch. And we'll find out what it is here. That first slider right there was away. That was a pretty good one, but away. I'm not so sure that wasn't a fastball. It kind of had that left-handed crossfire working.
Wind is blowing out to right field, so a favorable wind for Nolan Schubert, who has power, though, to all fields. First and second, one out. It's 3-0. 5-3 Oklahoma with one out in the bottom of the seventh.
Now, we've talked about the value of the walk. We don't want a walk here. We want this guy to have a chance to hit. This is your power guy. You got two freshmen coming.
And he swings at 3-0, and it's 3-1. That's exactly the point you were making.
Good fastball, 92, literally in the middle. Now Schuby has seen the fastball. Sit fastball, take the breaking ball. Make him show you that he can throw two more strikes in a row.
And the bases are loaded with one out as Schubert draws a walk.
And now you've got a couple rookies with a lot of pressure. I'd be surprised if we don't see a right-hander. Even though Jackson Kroll's in that dugout, pretty good left hand, pretty good, reliable left-hand hitter with a bunch of at-bats.
Well, the tricky thing, though, as far as pinch hitting is concerned, I'm just kind of double checking my notes here, is with the injuries that Oklahoma State has, you're a little bit limited in middle infield options and overall infield options.
You got one left. You got one on the bench. I know there's one in red shirt, but you're not going to break a red shirt now.
Bases loaded, one out. Avery Ortiz, who has a double, hit two two-run homers yesterday. A freshman will hit with the tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first, and the bases loaded, one out in the seventh.
He goes right at him, 93 in. Guy's got a good arm.
And quickly 0-2.
Fastball. That one had a little bit more ride in it. Not as much run. They've gone to the four-seamer.
Three straight freshmen due up for Oklahoma State. The first is Ortiz, who's behind in the count 0-2 with the bases loaded and one out. One ball, two strikes.
Ooh, what are we doing? Guy just went to his mouth on the rubber.
And that's into right field. That's a base hit. Bench scores. Rounding third, Viola. Here's a throw to the plate, and he is out at the plate. A great throw by Madron in right field, and there's two away.
Anything about it, the base hit, great. He's really shallow in right field. And Madron, he throws a strike to the plate.
So it's a 5-4 game. And boy, and that's such a tricky situation because you've got two more freshmen coming up. LaSalle with limited at-bats. So do you probably need to be a little more aggressive there? I mean, the right fielder, though, as you said, he was up.
You're always going to be more aggressive. Now, if there's nobody out, you stop him, you keep milking the inning.
And LaSalle hits that deep to center field, back to the track, back to the wall. It's a goner! A three-run homer for Donovan LaSalle, the first of his collegiate career.
He nailed that. Dave, that was gone the minute he hit it. Over the hitting eye.
And the 9th home run surrendered this season by James Hitt in roughly 26 innings.
Nothing wrong with the arm. You see why Skip went with him. And you know, you're sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, we should have stopped him at third. And it covers it up.
7-5 Oklahoma State, bottom 7. 4 runs in for the Cowboys. A 2-out, 3-run homer by Donovan LaSalle. His first career home run. And O'Brate Stadium is buzzing. It's 1-1 to Colin Ritchie.
What is that, his 15th at bat on the year?
18th. 18th at bat of the year. 18th bat of his collegiate career. And with Bedlam on the line in the final Big 12 Bedlam series, he crushes a 3-run homer to center to give his team a 7-5 lead.
Great makeup, great indicator. Boy, the 3 freshmen back to back to back. It's going to be a building block for this program.
And that's into left center field, and that's a base hit for Ritchie with 2 away. So the freshmen come up big in the clutch. Ortiz, an RBI single. LaSalle, a 3-run homer. And Ritchie follows that up with a base hit. Freshman growing up in Denver.
Boy, how fun is that? I mean, let's enjoy the inning. Well, let's start thinking about the bullpen, all right? You got a 2-run lead. OU's got 6 outs. Who's fresh, who's not?
We'll have a pitching change, and we'll tell you about the new OU pitcher when we return. 4 runs home for Oklahoma State in the 7th. 7-5 Cowboys.
All weekend, and this guy's been almost unhittable. 5 hits in 10 innings, 0.90 earned run average. That's incredible. Of course, you tend to think, like, where was he? Why wasn't he in against that right-hander? I'll go ahead and say it. Why wasn't he in against that right-hander? You kind of said that the lefty that was in there threw the home run ball. So now Lambert comes. He's got no pressure on him whatsoever. Pressure's all on the other side now.
Lambert worked on Tuesday at Wichita State, an inning of scoreless relief. So an RBI single by freshman Avery Ortiz made it a 1-run game. But the Cowboys had a runner thrown out at the plate, trying to score. And then Donovan LaSalle, who has been injured for most of the year, with 2 out, a 3-run home run, followed by another freshman, Ritchie, with a single. Here's Lane Forsythe with 2 away.
And not a home run that we can sit here and go, boy, the Flags just got that ball and blew it out of here. That ball did not get any help from the wind whatsoever. In fact, the flag was dead when that ball left the park.
Activity in the Cowboy bullpen. Carson Bench, who has been the OSU closer as of late, is warming up.
And I'm just thinking out loud, but I know the run on freshman hitters. And the lefty, boy, he showed a good arm. His numbers weren't real good, but this guy's numbers are real good. And would you not have wanted him against the right-hand hitters? Of course, it's only the 7th inning.
Right.
And maybe he's a one-inning guy. and you still have to pitch in the 8th and the 9th. I don't know. All I know is this game's not over yet.
Oh, no.
Don't go to the refrigerator and pop one and sit down and start giggling, because it's not over yet.
Ritchie at first, 2-2 pitch. It's 3-2. Forsythe stays alive. Now, what else would you expect in the final game in the final Bedlam Conference Series?
That's why you go, isn't it? I mean, you got to come out here because crazy things happen in this series.
Ritchie will get a running start on this 3-2 pitch, and that's a walk. First and second, 2 out as the rally continues.
And that's a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. I'll say this now that we're down to the last couple innings of the series. I think both of these two ball clubs are both NCAA regional teams that are going to be hard to beat. This series can tell you that. And if you got a major weakness, it'll expose that. But to have a 7-8 or an 8-7 game in the third game doesn't surprise me.
First and second, 2 out. That's fisted on the right side. Diving attempt by Snyder, but it falls foul. It's 0-2.
Yeah, as long as you don't break a leg. It's sliding into walls. Never been a real fan of that.
Doherty 0 for 3. The count now 1-2. Well, if the tarp is not there, then he's probably got a pretty good chance to make that play.
Yeah. Tell you what, though, it's really put in a good spot.
It's 2-2 to Doherty.
You can tell this is another one of those guys with a great arm. But when he lands and throws, Dave, he's going backwards. A little bit of the drive line concept. They land and they get no extension.
And the count is full.
It's hard, it's heavy. He's also running away from his arm.
So the runners will get a flying start here on this 3-2 pitch with 2 out. Ritchie's at second and Forsythe at first. 4 runs home in the inning. 2 away and a payoff pitch coming to Doherty. And he stays alive.
Nice slider. Hadn't seen that in so many fastballs.
Runners will take off on the pitch again. 2 away. Here's another 3-2 pitch. And that's a walk, and the bases are loaded with 2 out. And the Cowboys have hit around as Carson Benj, who started this inning with a walk, will come back to the plate with the bases loaded, 2 out, and 4 runs already home here in the 7th. Oklahoma State up 7-5, trying to add to the lead.
You got to like your chances right here, even though this guy's played Superman this inning. Ran down to the bullpen, threw a bullpen. Now he runs back up to hit again. Got to remind him of his American Legion days.
Benj has scored 3 times. Solo homer in the 3rd, doubled in the 5th, and scored, walked and scored in this 7th. Hitting for the 2nd time this inning. It's 1-0.
And that's a borderline ball.
Lambert has come in and walked both Forsythe and Doherty on full count pitches. Bases loaded, 2 out. Bench fouls it away.
96 up and in.
So as you preach, Tom, the walk always plays a role in a big inning, and the Cowboys have benefited from 4 walks in the bottom of the 7th here.
4 walks, wow.
1 ball, 1 strike, bases loaded, 2 out. It's 2-1 to Bench.
Now you're only down 2, so I mean this game's just okay, just flip-flopped. But boy, you make a mistake here, you can get blown out.
Three balls and a strike, and Lambert is in danger of walking 3 consecutive hitters and walking a run in.
Yeah, 11 balls out of 18 pitches.
Ball. Oh, it's a late call. Strike 2.
Yeah, I think Mark took a good look at it. It's borderline, and people have a right to boo.
Runners will get a start here. They'll take off on the pitch. Bases loaded, 2 out. 3-2 pitch coming. Lambert to Carson Bench. He fouls out away. Third base side. Stays alive.
This is a fun time to hit. All you do is just look in the zone. You don't have to pull it. You don't have to hit it out of the yard. Just look for something over the plate, square it up. Let things happen.
Here's another payoff pitch. And he walked him. That walks in a run. Ritchie comes to the plate. It's an 8-5 Oklahoma State lead. And now a 5-run bottom of the 7th for the Cowboys.
Now, the walk is as good as a hit.
And now Oklahoma State's hottest hitter, Zach Earhart, will be at the plate. Remember, Ritchie extended the rally after the 3-run homer by his fellow freshman Donovan LaSalle with a single. And since then, 3 straight walks. And it's a 3-run Cowboy lead here with 2 out in the bottom of the 7th, and the bases will stay loaded. And Oklahoma will make another pitching change in the bottom of the 7th. And Carson Atwood takes over on the mound. He did pitch Friday night against the Cowboys, gave up a run in 2/3 of an inning, faced 3 hitters.
And the guys that worked Friday night that threw an inning or so, this is prime right here to get Saturday off and be able to come back Sunday. And I think showing your power arms like Skip did, the lefty had a great arm, and boy, Lambert, wow. I mean, 97, 98. Got to throw strikes. Can't win without throwing strikes, but tip your hat to Oklahoma State in this inning for being patient. And when you're at home and you've got 7,000, 8,000 people here, sometimes the pressure is on the home team. It's not on the visitors. But I think the one thing that OU did that's a big mistake is they walked people. They gave Oklahoma State too many opportunities.
5 walks issued by Sooner pitchers here in the bottom of the 7th. And 3 straight have been issued, setting the stage for Earhart here. It's in there. It's 0-1. Earhart, the leading hitter in the Big 12 Conference in conference play. His batting average the last 2 weeks, just under 600. He has a double today, 1 for 4. Bases loaded, 2 out, 5 runs in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A month ago, he swings at that pitch right there. Now, he's on a roll, sees the ball big. This is the guy you really want at the plate right here.
2-1.
And I don't know whether they're calling the pitches for him or not. I know that Skip's been known to turn it over to the catcher every now and then. But right now, with this situation right here, you've got to throw the ball over the plate.
It's 3-1. And the Sooners are in danger of walking a fourth straight hitter and a sixth hitter in this bottom of the seventh. It has been a catastrophe for the Sooners.
And it looks like he's calling the pitches, so.
Ball four. Another run comes in. 4 consecutive walks issued by OU pitchers. 6 walks in the inning. It's
Now
9-5.
This one looks like it's got a little cut at the end. Yeah. And it's a ball wide. Catcher did a great job. And see, Dave, that's what I don't like about this one knee catching. He did a nice job of, reaching out and bringing it back in. But he also got a whole bunch of people in the ballpark mad. I mean, he brought it in, almost made the umpire look bad, but that ball was a ball wide. Mark Wager's a good umpire.
So 5 of the 6 runs in this inning have come with 2 out. And that's in the dirt to Aiden Miola. 4 consecutive Cowboys have walked. It's brought home 2 runs, and Oklahoma has walked 6 in this inning. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this.
This is the meltdown deluxe.
9-5 Oklahoma State. That's in there. It's 1-1. It was a 5-3 Oklahoma lead when we went to this bottom of the 7th. And that seems like a month ago. The Cowboys have been at the plate for a while. 1 ball, 1 strike to Miola. Bases loaded, 2 out. Fouls that away, 1-2. 6 runs.
Aiden loaded up on that pitch right there. You could see it in his hands. And he just missed it. Just missed it.
(9-5) Oklahoma State. Bases loaded, 2 out. 1-2 pitch to Miola. And he golfs that into shallow center. It's sinking, and it is caught. A great play by Pettis hustling in to end the 7th. But what a 7th inning it was for Oklahoma State. 6 runs. The big blast. The first career home run for top of the 8th. It's 9-5 Oklahoma State. Here's what's coming up for the Sooners. Big series coming up with Kansas State.
Kansas State's they've been consistently good throughout. I'm talking start to finish. I mean, to updated. They're hanging in the conference. I think K-State actually got ranked early. BYU just took 2 out of 3 from Texas. And then they get the Horns. So stay tuned. Another great month of conference baseball coming up.
Robert Kranz, who's been on the bench for a long time, returns to the mound for Oklahoma State. Now he has a 4-run lead. Pettis leading off. And it's 0-2 to him.
You know, Pettis just made a play, Dave, that you might say routine, but that's what speed does for you in the outfield. If that ball hits the ground right there, this game's over. And he gets the lead off. That's the other one of those oddities of baseball, huh? Make a great play, then lead off the inning.
And Pettis strikes out on 3 pitches, 1 away in the 8th. Foul tip, strikeout.
And again, we got the first out. That's a very big out right there. And it keeps your pitch plan in order. I'm sure right now the idea is that fans knock off the 8th and give the 9th inning to binge.
0-1 to Scott Butler. No balls and 2 strikes.
Good slider.
One out here in the top of the 8th. Butler makes contact, stays alive. This game started at 2:05, or 1:05 rather. Can't tell time. So we're getting close to 3.5 hours.
Wow.
How about that? But it's been entertaining. for Cowboy fans here, especially in the bottom of the 7th. The Cowboys scored 6. That's grounded to first. To Meola. There's 2 away.
I don't think anybody's left, Dave. It looks like some of the students may have gone back to start studying and get ready for Monday's classes, but I think everybody else is still hanging around. And after last night, I wouldn't leave till the last out.
Oh, no. Jackson Willits at the plate with 2 out, and it's in there. Strike 1 from Kranz.
I like that pitch.
2-1 to Willits.
I think that's a changeup, and he hasn't had to use his changeup very much, but wow, that was a pretty good one right there.
It's fouled away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Kranz, the 4th Cowboy pitcher to work. Took over in the 7th. After Drew Blake faced 1 hitter. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. That's grounded to first. Nice play by Meola. Over to first to Kranz. And OU goes 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. To the bottom of the 8th in Stillwater. It's 9.
Houston's in a real bad rut right now. They're well almost buried, but they're down in the slot. And Central Florida at home, they're good. They're hard to beat at home. So Cincinnati and TCU, that's kind of like a, man, is that score right? Sure, that's not the other way around, but Cincinnati's coming in, going to make it fun now. They'll gain respect. Anybody that beats TCU 3 in a row, you got to respect that.
We have a new pitcher for Oklahoma. It's right-hander Malachi Witherspoon.
Yeah, we saw his brother yesterday. That's pretty cool. 2 brothers pitching, same college.
He'll face the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for Oklahoma State. The Cowboys with 6 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Donovan LaSalle with a 3-run homer, the first of his career. With 2 out, gave the Cowboys a lead. After that, Oklahoma walked 4 straight to bring 2 more runs in. In fact, Colin Ritchie had a base hit that kept the rally going, and then the walks came in bunches. OU, in fact, walked 6 in the inning. First pitch in there to Nolan Schubert.
That's 95. And he looks like his brother. His brother wore sunglasses. So my question, David.
Sir?
They're both sophomores. Are these 2 twins?
I can't answer that.
I think for sure that they're brothers.
So Schubert has a 1 ball, or rather a no ball, 2 strike count. He walked in that big 7th inning. Part of that big bunch of walks.
Ooh, that's a hammer.
And there's 1 away.
Where's that thing? Where's that thing been? And guess what? You're creeping up on shadows at the plate.
So here's Avery Ortiz. He had the base hit to right that scored the first run of the bottom of the 7th. However, Cowboys had a runner thrown out at the plate. Meola was thrown out.
I want to hear the crowd on this one here when LaSalle comes to the plate. You've got to show that home run on that scoreboard.
So here's Donovan LaSalle, who hit that big 2-out, 3-run homer in what was just his 18th collegiate at bat. In Bedlam, the final game of Big 12 Conference Bedlam in front of a sellout crowd.
Got to show the homer.
Ortiz hit by pitch now at first. One out here in the 8th. A 9-5 Oklahoma State lead.
Going after number 2 right there. Ooh.
Wild pitch. No throw as Ortiz is down to second.
Now that's legitimately a wild pitch. No conversation on that one.
Well, just when you think you've seen it all, then that 7th inning happens. Of course, yesterday was 19-10. We had 10 home runs in that game. It's been an eventful Bedlam series.
Well, that's a loaded arm, I'll tell you that. 95, 96. Oh, we got a timeout.
Boy, and you think about some of these final games in Bedlam and some of the drama. You know, the football game here in Stillwater went to the final moments. Of course, Oklahoma hit a 3-pointer in Gallagher-Iba Arena to beat the Cowboys. That's ripped by LaSalle. Out to center field, but backpedaling. Walk makes a play, and there's 2 out.
Now that's how you get back up hitting a home run. Hit another one right on the nose. Now you can't wait for Tuesday night to roll around.
I mean, the end of this conference Bedlam series is delivered. Think about football, men's basketball, what happened. I mean, hey, Sooners made the big shot at the end to win that game. Football was an incredible atmosphere. It's been an incredible atmosphere with record crowds all weekend here at O'Brien. Going out in style.
Yeah, and I have to wonder and question, why do you not maintain it?
1-0 to Colin Ritchie.
It's been electric for, I know, since 77 when I got involved in it, and to think of it evaporating away, maybe the fans could use a year or 2 off. You bring it back later, Dave? I don't know. What do you think?
Hard to tell. I mean, in some sports, well, football schedules are made so far in advance that it's just not practical.
Yeah.
And even now, baseball schedules are made, what, 18 months, 2 years in advance now?
Yeah, but, you know, you can always justify a midweek game. I could see maybe not playing them a weekend series for a year or 2.
Well, and we'll have a midweek game. That's the plan. One game each year.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as a conference series.
Well,
I mean,
when they build onto their stadium down in Norman, would you not want to open it with Oklahoma State? I mean, it's just like kind of fits. And maybe it'll be their turn by the time they finish it.
Ritchie draws a walk. It'll be first and second with 2 out. I mean, when you have a rivalry game like this and you have conference implications, then you're really at the big table, so to speak.
With the 2 criteria of strength of schedule and RPI, where are you going to go to get a better RPI game than play somebody from the SEC and or somebody from the new Big 12? Are we going to stay the Big 12, even though we run to, what, 15 teams next year? Any change on the title?
Forsythe on the first pitch pops out. on the right side. Snyder can't come up with it. And the wind wreaking havoc on that right side, as it always does, and Forsyth is still alive.
As soon as it got around the end of the stadium right there.
You know, and here's the thing. Watch what happens at the last moment. That's what players talk about, how the ball will change in direction suddenly in the last few feet before it hits the ground.
Yeah, it's like it reverses the spin on the ball, the breeze off the end of the stadium. Boy, throwing strikes has really become an issue with OU in the last couple innings.
Sooners have walked 7 in the last 2 innings. Of course, they had the 5 straight walks, or correction, the 4 straight walks in the 7th. So in the last 2 innings, the Sooners have walked 7, hit 1. 1 and 2 to Forsyth, first and second, 2 out here in the bottom of the 8th. Oklahoma State leading 9-5.
Now they'll be able to blame that on the collapse, but LaSalle made that happen. He turned the scoreboard around. Pretty good curveball. I don't know that he likes it real well. He doesn't throw it very often.
Forsyth strikes out. We'll head to the 9th in Stillwater. 9-5 Oklahoma State over Oklahoma. At over 5 Oklahoma State, and on the mound for the Cowboys, Carson Bench pitching for the first time this weekend.
The numbers are awesome. 13-2 strikeouts to walks, 3 hits in 9 innings. Electric arm. Now he'll run from 94 to 99. Good curveball. And, you know, having played every inning of 3 games to come out and pitch the 9th of the 3rd game, kind of fun to watch. Of course, he's an excellent athlete.
He'll face the top of the order here in the Oklahoma 9th inning. Jackson Kroll will take over at right field. Charlie Carter is now the Cowboy catcher, replacing Ian Doherty.
Ian had a good series. Good to see him healthy, throwing the ball well. Now you take care of this thing quietly. Act like you had him all the way.
Jason Walk had a 2-run homer in the 5th that gave Oklahoma the lead back in the 5th. That was a long time ago. 9-5, top 9.
'93 up in the zone.
That's into right field, and that's a leadoff single.
93 middle in, turned on it. That's a good-looking freshman. I'll tell you that. Jason Walk, keep an eye on that.
Walk has now posted 2 hits today and has extended his hitting streak to 9 games. Bryce Madron just hit a solo homer in the 3rd and has walked twice, heading the count 1-0. Top of the 9th, 9-5 Oklahoma State. Walk at first after a leadoff single. It's 1-1.
Changeup from the big guy. That's unusual. But not after watching OU swing the bat all weekend. You gotta off-speed them. You can't just throw a diet of fastballs. And you want to avoid getting the tying run to the plate this inning.
That's the first to Miola. Steps on the bag for the first out. Walk goes down to second.
Well, that's a really high quality hitter. He hit it, he squared it, hit it right at the first baseman, and every out's big in the ninth inning.
Easton Carmichael has walked, struck out twice, flown out to right. Hey, that's chopped foul. It's 0-1. This is a tough place to hit this time of day.
Yeah, anything that spins late becomes a little bit tougher to see and identify.
Walk at second. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a good breakaway. Missed. Down and away. That's okay. It's got a purpose. Now you turn around, throw that heater down and away again, and come back to the curveball and strike him out.
It's 1-2.
Fastball at 94. Now the curveball's a strikeout pitch. Yeah.
2-2.
I think Charlie made it look good. And that's, I'm going to take that. That's a strike. Sorry, Mark.
And the count's full. Walk led off the inning with a single. Then Madron grounded out to first. That's into shallow center. Earhart coming on, and that's the second out of the ninth.
Good. I'm glad he put it in play. I don't want a borderline strike to play into the end result of this series. And Benj, you know, he didn't let it. He came back and he threw a strike. That was a borderline pitch.
So Anthony McKenzie will try to extend the game for Oklahoma. Oklahoma State trailed 5-3 going to the bottom of the 7th and scored 6 times. The highlight, a 2-out, 3-run homer to give the Cowboys the lead from freshman Donovan LaSalle.
'92. Nice changeup. Well, we can add that to the scouting report for the second half of the season. This guy's got another pitch to show. You might want to bring him in the 8th inning instead of the 9th. Yeah, borderline. Boy, the shadows really makes that ball just disappeared.
2-1, 2 out. Walk at second base. 9-5 Oklahoma State.
Change up again.
It's 2-2.
Boy, he's throwing it for a strike. That's exciting.
Crowd on its feet at O'Brien. Sensing a series victory.
Why not? Have fun with it.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. The pitch on the way. It misses, and the count is full. Series winner for Oklahoma State. 9-5 in Stillwater.
$199 a month, or get 3.89% APR or $1,000 bonus cash. Visit your Gulf Coast Hyundai dealer today.
Could I get a large